Something has changed. Can you tell what's changed? I wonder if you'll see the change. Unless you've already normalized it in your sleep. Are you from the dream or the waking world? Are you the butterfly or the bird watcher? Something has changed.
You're on a live stream! They can see you! I'm just kidding, it's me. You can see me. Hi, I'm Chris. I'm Vangelis. My shirt is temperaturing a whole lot to look like skin. I am wearing a shirt. This isn't as bad as the orange shirt, but this is still... wow. I didn't realize, like, how shirtless I looked. Anyway, hi. Let's say hello to some folks. Who we got in here? Where's our party people at? I see V Rider, I see Army of Bees, I see Dynamo Dave 2002, I see Flame War 05, Sam Wellbell, Toys Shelves, Scourge's Optimus Prime, Ronnie Lane, Robot Lore Keeper, Mr. Tots, Rocket Eye, Master Ben 95, That Toy Guy, and JT Elm and Sideswipe Prime 606, and Ark. Yo, you're visible. Things are different. Things have changed. Things are brand new, and you can't tell right now, but I'm sure you're starting to notice something. If you've been to one of these streams before, I'm looking at the monitor a bunch of times just to make sure everything's working here. Hello there, Mozotron. Anyway, things are a little bit different looking. And part of it might be, hey, why don't you look like you're washed out in a room so much? You still look kind of washed out in a room, but now there's a little bit more punchiness. You're in darkness now. That's because I have another light. When I was in BC, at a Staples, I caught a light on sale, and I forgot to set it up, / didn't have room to set it up. I decided to just, like, scramble to make room, also in order to maybe start actually cleaning my horrible, horrible desk. So the light is up. It's a Logitech light, so it actually hooks into the same app as my cameras, which is weird, because I don't really understand what it's trying to do. Canada has Staples. Yeah, we do. Yo, Chris Carnage! What's up? You're live. Are you live too? Oh no, you're live because you're here. That's right. You're alive. See that toy guy watching the mouth disconnect, showing the other underneath. Listen, don't look too deeply in there. You know, much like a xenomorph, you don't want to see the mouth in the mouth. I'm gonna mess with my air conditioner while I'm at this. It's humid AF, and my hair is suffering. My whole body is suffering. I hate humidity. Oh yeah, we had Target. Target is what failed in Canada. That was all Target's fault. That was pre-2020 failure. I see Aaron Axsmith in here. Uh-oh. We got trouble. So my only problem is I am assuming you can all hear me still. My microphone's now completely over to my right, so any kind of stereophonic effect is gone. I've been trying to figure out, like, where to put it, and it's everything is crammed over here. Hang on, let me see if I can hook this underneath this. Maybe this will work a bit better. Feels a little bit better. Now it's visible, but feels a little bit better. Anyway, I'll put that there for now. You're right, it's cooled down for me. Yeah, it was hot here. And now we've got all the, like, post-heat electricity in the air and thunderstorms and random squalls, and then it all gets heated up and it makes my hair go all nuts and frizzy. Also, I kind of figured out my diabetes medication, metformin, I think may be partly responsible for the ridiculous amount of out of nowhere, just, like, damp head sweat that I get shortly after taking my morning one. It sucks. It was very annoying. I hate being sweaty. Chris Muse, metformin bros. It's working, but I had to up it a little bit, and yeah, I take a shower, dry my hair completely, get all ready to go out, step out of my door, lock my door, back of my head's already like it's though I was standing in a shower. It's really irritating. I have pre-diabetes, kind of like just perpetual pre/maybe, but kind of fixable diabetes. I took a lot of educational courses this time around, thanks to the very nice clinic I'm connected to, and diabetes is very funny, because, you know, you think it's all about, oh, you ate too much ice cream. There's so many other things that can bring it about. My blood sugar spiked in a bad way when I had my infestation problem last summer. I asked at one of the webinars because they mentioned stress, I was like, would a stressful incident like this that's caused one of my shoulder nerves to pinch almost permanently possibly have something to do with this? And they were like, yes, it could. They looked at the timing of my spike. They're like, yeah, that times perfectly. I don't remember. I'm the type that's benign and I don't have to use a needle. But yeah, I have a very, very good diabetes clinic I'm connected to, so I'm very lucky. But I've had pre-diabetes since, like, 2008, 2009. Yeah, type 2. The casual one. I'm not a lifestyler. Yeah, I have determined that my metformin that I just upped, combined with all the humidity outside, meant that, like, walking out to, like, 3 blocks from here to have lunch with my brother was a very damp affair. I missed a bunch of this stuff. My Scourge's Optimus Prime, my state has out of whack weather. Yeah, we're all... It's kind of like we're in a... Hey, maybe climate globally is changing due to humanity. Type 1 is now referred to as ranked diabetes. Yeah, I'm unranked. My stats are low. Chris Means, did you lose weight when you started your metformin too? I don't know. I don't have a scale because, like, I'm one of those. But like my blood pressure kicks ass. Not to brag, but every time I've gone to the diabetes clinic and they do the thing where they spend 10 minutes taking my blood pressure 6 times to average it out. My blood pressure, without fail, I get friggin' pats on the back. I'm teacher's pet. My specialist is always like, "Wow, Chris, your blood pressure kicks ass." I actually wrote it. I think I wrote it down. Let me see if I can, just to brag. I'm gonna see if I can pull my number up. 125 over 77, 80 BPM. Now, I know that's not like superhuman, but for someone who is like not doing any strength training yet, because I'm still too chicken to go to a gym, mostly just getting cardiovascular through long-term power walking, I think that's a pretty cool blood pressure. I was worried when I was sweating like this that my blood pressure was going to suck, and it's going to be like, yeah, your heart's about to explode. So my blood pressure apparently kicks ass. So, hey. I'm your blood pressure icon. Can't pop these veins. Ben Walters, my day's okay. A little bit wet. I miss so much stuff. Diabetes light. Ark, this humidity's nasty as hell, my poor curly hair. Yeah, rip. I feel like we're at the point now where when it's, weather, no one's actually going to judge you if your hair looks like Garbo. Because anyone who's had any hair is just going to see... At this point, in 2024, surely, as a humanity, we're just like, oh, cousin, I'm so sorry. I got your back. But yeah, amidst the humidity, also, my eyes keep drying out because I'm running the dry the air function on my AC to counteract the humidity. So I'm fluctuating between like and like my eyes drying out, and then when I turn it off, then it's like my hair goes like and then like just dribbling down the back. Anyway, aren't humans funny? Isn't it funny, these things that we have to wear, these meat suits? Scourge Optimus Prime, you got a bad asthma. My condolences, but hey, you're alive now. To quote Bloodywood, you can get back up if you're still alive. It's a good, not the name of the song, but good stuff in there. Toy Guy, this year has been pretty terrible hay fever wise. Yeah, I'm sure humidity can't be helping with that, right? Like, neck fans now exist. My brother got me on this. I'm looking into, they got cooling headbands. There's all kinds of different types. Among the other types, there's like the one where you can actually put a cold pack in a headband and put it on, or like, wrap it around your neck to cool your your carotid. I'm thinking of looking into those and getting some of those. Also, for when I start doing strength training eventually, I need to get some headbands, because I'm going to have all that metformin / humidity / physical exertion sweat, and I don't like sweat in my eyes. When I was doing more fencing, my least favorite thing was when the sweat would go in my eyes and then I couldn't see anything. And I'm doing a combat sport and now I can't see anything, and it's a whole not good being blinded. Could this replace the gamer headband? No, it would simply add to the roster. I'd add it to my headband rack. Like alongside my rifles or whatever the hell you put in racks. You're not allowed to buy a new headband until you prestige the gamer headband. I don't... Let's just say I've prestiged this one, alright? I have definitely at least once had this headband wet on the outside. Simply from existing and doing stuff. I gotta... Wow. That Discord message showed up 40 minutes ago and I was busy and I didn't answer it. Now it popped up again. Aaron, I'll reply to you later. Ark, thoughts on Energon universe so far? I have only read the first trade paperback of the Transformers, so I'm very behind still. But I like that first trade paperback. I thought it was cool. Chris Carter, when you start training, let me know if you need pointers. Yeah, I sure wish I had a local area gym buddy, so I'm not going alone, because I'm very much a personality type where I love going into social situations with a friend. And if I go into one by myself, it's Wallflower Town. But also, B, I've been asking people, like, what are personal trainers and how affiliated are they with gyms? And apparently that's literally what a gym provides as a service, is you go, like, I don't know how this works. And they're like, here, we connect you with this person. You say what you're trying to do, and they will tell you what to do with the things so that you don't, like, kill somebody with them. So I just got to figure out, like, of the ones around me, which one I want to go to, and find when a regular time is. Basically, for those, again, who do not have diabetes or who have not been fortunate enough to get good support if you do have prediabetes or diabetes, good cardiovascular helps. However, strength training helps your body process insulin better. That is what my specialist told me. So that's my pursuit now. Yeah, if you didn't live an hour, that's the thing, is I've got friends who are like, yeah, I'm on the other end of the subway line, and I'm like, yeah, first time caller, long time listener. I need a gym that's like really close to me, because if I have to then travel an hour to go to a gym, it's never gonna happen. I talked actually the diabetes specialist was telling me that with gyms that is a big psychological part, is you got to try to find one close by, because nothing can talk you out of doing something than like, also you got to travel an hour. And it's like, okay, or even you got to travel 30 minutes, whereas you have to walk 5 minutes, and it's like, okay, I can do that. And I know that I can walk 5 to 10 minutes gyms close enough to me. I just gotta, like, piece it all together. Chris means I go to a low-impact swimming thing every week. That sounds really cool. Chris Carnage, your specialist is correct. Yeah, hey, yo. Yeah, Carnage, you're also a little bit far away. Kind of, yeah. Only a smidge, though. You're surely closer than Toy Guy. Or maybe he's just a roaming personal trainer that goes from gym to gym, the Ronin that guides you. Yeah, that's what I would like. Anyway, that's a little bit of chitter chatter. I should show you all the other new thing. Let me move my keyboard. I'll just put it up here. Let's go to the because this looks it looks different. Doesn't look better. Looks different. I think it looks better, but I don't know. Maybe you don't agree. However, this... Look at all... Hang on. This is pointed the wrong way. Look at how nice my desk looks now. As opposed to that weird, like, always kind of chunky, always kind of underexposed, whatever. Now we're all... Look how bright it is. I could go over way more. It's the same amount of space. It's just you can see it. Is the main difference. So space-wise, the desk is the same. It's exactly the same. It is simply being lit by one more light. So you can see this a bit better. Excuse me. So you can see that a bit better. The light is from this angle, so if I turn it this way, then the light starts coming off of it. So yeah, this is the space I've always had to work with. It just always, I think, looked more cramped because it was underlit and, you know, to heck. So now the lighting is a bit better. It's helping the focus a lot too. It's helping the frame rate a little bit. These are all like video-y things. Also, this was sitting behind me the entire time I was unboxing Boxshredding Magmatron, like almost 2 weeks ago, I think now. Time flies when existential crisis. So this was sitting behind me the entire time. That's why I kept time checking throughout the Magmatron thing. So I was like, do we shoot one more in or not? And then once Magmatron was done, I was like, no, that's a whole stream and I'm hungry. So this has now been sitting behind me since the 13th. And General Techno has a much bigger pile of toys saved to open on stream. I already feel weird when I have like 2 or 3 sitting there and I'm like, I should stream opening this. Like when I was in BC, I didn't stream opening everything. Like, you know, I cracked open this little guy. This little funny fella. I should set the focus on this to auto to see if it'll actually play nice. But I also opened this up when I was in BC so that my luggage would work and I wouldn't have like a bunch of unopened toys. This also is going to help me do some focus checking. Oh, all this stuff. No, actually, this was a Walmart. The first Walmart I went to when I visited my mom the day after I arrived, had 7 Mohawks just sitting there. It was very funny. There we go. Well, it's a little bit more focus. Yeah, Techno streams. Techno is on Twitch. Do check out Techno. Techno opens a lot of toys, and if you want to see stuff fresh out of the box, Techno's got you covered. If it's Transformers or a bunch of other things, but mostly Transformers are what I'm thinking about. Anyway, this little guy's pretty cool. I don't know if you've seen Mohawk. He's a core class, I guess. Rip. His mouth does that much, and his head is on a 5mm peg, which is pretty funny. Also, he comes with a 3mm peg knife. Just a knife. If you have 7 Mohawks, wouldn't that be a whole head of hair? Well, I only bought 1. So I don't have the other 6. But yeah, this was a GameStop pre-order that came in at the beginning of the month, out of nowhere. Once again, it is neat that toys come out early. It's kind of fun. It's not Christmas though, because I still have to pay for them. It would be nice if the dates attached to the pre-orders actually ever made sense. Or were predictable, but, I have a whole panel about that. Anyway, your video on Legacy Animated Optimus convinced me again he's my favorite figure now. Scourge is Optimus Prime. I'm happy to have been helpful. But yeah, Mohawk's great. I'll just say it, motorcycle Transformers, since Legacy began with Prime RC, in my opinion, not a single bad one. You might not like how some of the robot modes look, but as toys, I have liked every single motorcycle we've gotten since Legacy started. It's just been banger after banger after banger. Like, I love it, because I love motorcycles. Rexodus, you're having a bad day / bad life? Damn it. Let's see if we can fix that. Ow! This corner just went into my palm when I did that. Like, that's not fair. Anyway, I moved the price tag down here because, like, I filmed the packaging 2 weeks ago. Canadian prices, bear that in mind. I live in Canada, those are not American dollars. I still have a platinum, so I got that. I don't know what happens when it runs out. No one does. But until we get there, open this like a true fan. When's the unicycle Transformer going to be real? PT, I don't know, and frankly, we've been betrayed as a fandom, given we're nearly halfway through the 2020s, Jesus, and we still don't have our unicycle. It's absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, Platinum runs out, and there's no replacement for the for the GameStop EB Games Platinum program. I ask them as nicely as possible every time I go now to pick something up. And I make it clear, I'm like, I don't think you guys know, and I understand why you don't. I'm just asking because, hey, who else am I going to ask? And I'm now, I have days left on my membership before it's supposed to renew, but it will not renew because the program is over. Who knows? There is no tier. They are eliminating the program in Canada. That is all that we know. Is the program as we know it is being ended. A new one will start someday. Nobody knows what the new one is. I've heard a little bit of scuttlebutt that it was very funny, but I've heard no confirmation from anyone else, so I don't want to say it. But it would kind of eliminate I would say it would eliminate the one thing that GameStop has over Toys R Us and Walmart. Except that they're still less expensive than Toys R Us, and sometimes less expensive than Walmart still. So, who knows? I'm going to get the tissue paper open. Toy Guy, apparently they're going to be changing it, but my GameStop's also... Yeah, every time I ask, they look like... Okay, you know when you deal with a retail person, and you know how bad people at retail have it, and you ask a question, and then their whole body language changes because they're expecting you to cause an incident. That's what happens every time I ask about the thing, and I always feel so bad. And I always tell them afterwards, I'm like, yo, it's okay, I'm only asking because I figure if anyone will know, it'll be someone working here, but I understand that the situation is, this sucks for all of you guys too. So I'm just asking because I want to know when I can know. But it's all good, and I wish them a nice day afterwards. Sam Wellball, I, for one, love global capital. And also, I will say, this is GameStop Canada, which is ostensibly a different entity, sort of, than GameStop America. So, whatever that means, you know? Okay, so this story is fascinating in how much this actually just literally does feel like a Galaxy Force figure. I'm wondering if I'm supposed to do anything else with the stuff floating around back here. I guess I'll take a look as there's a step 1. Toy Guy, the manager of my local GameStop told me it's going to be something similar, but that's all he knows. Yeah, what I'll say, the scuttlebutt I heard is it's basically going to be the same program, just worse. But it's going to just pretty much be a strict, like, replacement. Just the numbers are all changing. Everything's going to be harder. If you thought you were able to get to Onyx before, probably not. But otherwise, like, that's it. Maybe the percent... Like, basically, it's just going to be... The program will be worse, but it will still be there. And if that's the case, then, like, you know, whatever. I just think it's messed up that, like, the company is not outfitting the people working there with any information, because I'm sure there are a lot of folks who go to a GameStop who are not kind. D Rice Raid stream's getting a little choppy. Is it getting choppy for anyone else? Because first thing I will say is if it gets choppy, do an F5. See if that fixes it. Here, how does the little windscreen cape feel in hand? Feels fine. I'm actually kind of... The thing that I'm more thrown off by is I don't understand what all this door stuff in the back is supposed to be doing. Like, I see little nubs in there for it to hook over, but it's never doing the thing. It's kind of just sitting there, and it keeps coming loose. But yeah, this hinge feels, you know, pretty tight. Not scary tight. You know, you probably don't want to work this up and down constantly, but it doesn't feel terrible. It's... You know, for those who get freaked out by it, it's a pin shot through both opaque and some clear plastic. So if you go looking under there, I'm sure eventually you will find a stress mark, but to me the bigger question is, like, is that going to result in a physical compromise? I guess we'll just have to wait and see. It feels fine to me, though. Luke, is this from 2005? No, what if I told you this was from 2024? Here's the package. 2005 is just retro now, so we get throwback products to it. 2005 was 19 years ago. Alright. Oh, do you want to hear something about Loblaw's Atlantic Superstore, local chain? What made everyone boycott? Yeah, Loblaw's is not Galen Weston, so I'm curious what they did. If one could just please, you know? Toy Guy, one of my local shops classified Armada toys as vintage, which made me shiver. They are. We called G1 vintage in the aughts, so... Oh, Graham Slayer Soup. I didn't see a post. That's what companies do, make the workers suffer for their mismanagement and greed. Yep. That's always been a big GameStop thing that bothered me. I mean, I saw people saying, like Rexodus, I think, mentioned, you know, former worker there. And in the States, I think it was way worse. But, you know, the whole thing of, like, hey, everyone hates this promotion we have. Anyway, push it or you're fired. Logos Minor throwing in the bit of trivia. Age of Extinction turns 10 years old this week. Oh, yeah, Flame Lord. It does feel like 20 years is like the click for the vintage button to start going off. Oh, Rexodus can confirm, in fact, was fired for not pushing hard enough. Wretched practice. By the way, the robot mode articulation I'm kind of digging. Use a transformation joint, you can get, you know, some anime stuff going on. You don't need to though. You don't have to risk the whatever people call it. You can get that far out before you start doing that. Get that far and before it's any kind of an issue. So that's kind of cool. I believe the little winglies can fold. Sorry, I got to do this right. I believe that the force chip ignition little winglies can fold up. So you can get your full, like, we can't make hot rod yet aesthetic. That's kind of cool. Much like on the original, you can barely tell it's happened from the front. Which I always thought was cute. And I like this. I know there was some scuttlebutt chatter about this when it was revealed. I think it's kind of cute that the gun is a gun that is painted to look like it's a spring-loaded gun, even though it's not. I don't know. I think that's cute. Should it have been a missile? Who knows? What does should mean? But I think it's very cute. Like, specifically painting this strip here. You know, I think that's very cute. Whoever, like, settled on that idea, I think should get a pat on the back. Can he stand on one leg? I think so. Yeah. Oh, yeah, Toy Guy, I heard about that. Yeah, quote, one cool thing about the key I've been told is that it's cast in yellow, like this stuff, and then painted in a special paint to keep it clear. So that would mean that they're actually using, like a translucent or an ink wash on this. Or, sorry, a glaze. And that's kind of cool to see on a mass production level. That's like basic mini painting 101. Ha, 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 ha. But, that's interesting. Sam Welbo, what does should mean? All-timer. I mean, yeah. Also, I learned this from, I forgot who. I think it was it Face Forward on the Discord? But the door wings are 5mm pegged in, so you can use these for whatever you want to do with 5mm pegs. That's kind of neat. Also, probably opens the door for whatever kind of partials and reshelling and retools they might want to do with this. Wheeljack 64, paint over time, I kind of doubt will be a thing. Also, if it does, like, somehow flake off, this is the easiest thing in the world to get someone to do. Also, if you're worried about it, you give it a gloss clear coat, and that will seal it in forever, if they didn't already do that on it. Oh, you know what? They didn't... Oh, this is really interesting. I just noticed, because I was looking at it like this. The paint is on here, on the inside. So up here is unpainted. The paint is all on the underside here, and then this translucent amber is like turning, because if you look, it's a little bit redder here. I don't think you can tell on the camera. It's way more blood red down here, and when you flip it, it's slightly oranged because of the effect of seeing that red filtered through this amber plastic. That's kind of neat. It also means, yeah, you can scratch and scrape this all you want and it won't come off. You could then, like, do some metallic on here if you wanted. That's a really cool idea. Okay, yeah, on the camera you can see the yellow on the side. Yeah, you see? If you look at it from this angle, you can see how it's almost pure yellow through this vantage point. I don't think I've seen that since some Dinobots where they did like metallic paint, but that was like silver paint on the inside of a translucent piece. This is like an ink, which I don't recall. I mean, technically red paint is also just like this. Like red paint is extremely transparent. So this might not be an ink. This might actually just be like a thin application of red factory paint. Yeah, Ronnie Lane, the Power of the Prime Dinobots did that. Do you own Galaxy Force Exilion still? Yeah, all my Galaxy Force Cybertron stuff is out west, organized in a tub, because it's all durable toys that can take it. Ayo. Most Exilion thing you can do. Absolutely possible. Whoosh. Luke, do you have 3-0 Rise of the Beast Optimus? I don't think I do. Do you mean, is it the DLX, do you mean? Or did they do a DLX, or was that a premium series? I can't remember. I haven't actually gotten a review copy of a DLX in a hot minute. RC came out at Meeple Mart, and I was like, she's out, and then I was like, oh, they didn't send a review sample. Sadness. So now I gotta eventually save up for an RC because she looks cool. Is that the same kind of trick they pulled with Animated Prime signal lights? I'm not sure, because I did not look into what they did with those. I just kind of took them as they were. Are they also painted on, like, the underside? I don't know why I'm, like, miming like this. Okay, Luke, the DLX. Are you going to get the blockies? I really want to now that all the Constructicons are out. I should probably send them a message and go, like, hey, you want to work with me? But either way, I'm going to, worst case, just try to figure out, like, what to get off AliExpress. That seems to be the place to get them right now. I think if someone just went, like, do you want a set of the 6 Constructicons from my extras for a good price, I might do that, but that probably, like, crests so close, I might as well just, like, collect the box. Me doing Candy Toy Brain, right? Oh, how did that go? Okay, that's a friction nub. I popped his foot off. Don't tell anyone, or I'll never hear the end of it. See, that's a really weird mounting. Because, like, it's nubs in 2 raised little cups. Oh, weird. And then you see this little tab here. This actually friction locks into that divot. That's interesting. I thought it was just going to be like a flip-out foot. It's doing a bunch of things. Rexodus, I noticed you discuss how much you pay for something often. Does the price you pay affect your enjoyment of stuff? Doesn't for me, and that is alien. It depends. Because, yeah, the price, I think, really can affect your perception of the experience. Most often, if you paid, like, a markup. The markup is where the psychology really begins. Because, like, something going wrong with a piece, I think, inherently feels worse when you went out of your way to pay more for it. And this isn't just with toys. I think this is also with a lot of things. Like, let's say, for instance, you overpay for, like, I want that new Eldrazi Commander deck from Modern Horizons 3. I'ma just throw down $250 Canadian right now, even though that's, like, twice the price anyone should ever pay for it. And then let's say you get it and then you don't like playing it, right? Then you'd feel really lousy, because it's like, I overpaid for this, I'm never going to get that same money back on it now that I've opened it and used it, and I also don't even like it. You know, I think that would feel worse than if you got it for like $80. And because then if it didn't turn out well, then it's like, well, everyone's paying $200 for this thing. I'll sell it to someone for more than $80. PT, yeah, I agree. If you spend like $70 for a $100 toy, you forgive a lot more about it. Yeah, I've had that psychology happen too. When I get a deal on something and I'm like, well, you know, I got it on sale and I'm having enough fun. But it's mostly with markups, I think. Markups are what can really create that psychology. I'm going to try to transform this now, and I'm assuming, for the most part, this works the same, because once you get into Cybertron, I think there's way less, like, smoothing to do. You know, there's just going to be like, oh, do the legs push in, or do they aerial bot in, you know? And I could tell from how he came out of the package, I can actually fold the head away in here, and I can't remember if the original did that. But I'm going to do that right now. Have you ever used the BBTS pile of loot system? Oh, all the time when it was, like, more reasonable to get stuff shipped to Canada. I still use it off and on, and I really should stop. Because shipping from the States to Canada is, like, still just generally terrible. Yeah, Rexodus, like, it's cool if it doesn't. I mean, I'm not going to say I'll be shocked, because, hey, it's the internet full of, you know, all kinds of everyone who ever existed, it turns out. But I would be surprised if anyone ever, like, really went, like, how dare you? Like, you know, if you're like, I don't really... because I'm assuming, I'm going to make an assumption. I'm assuming, like, once you get the piece, the part where it, you know, costs something to get to you, like, does that just, like, cease being part of the present? Because I've also had that happen with me with, like, really long-term pre-orders, where I actually don't really care what the price was because it's so distant and it was prepaid, if it was one of those types. that I can't connect the price anymore because it's been so long. Not to say I'm trying to, like, guess how your brain works, but I'm just wondering, since we're on the topic. Okay, correct. Once I own the thing, the price I paid leaves my head. I think that's also just not a brain type necessarily, but I think that's a collector psychological bullet point type, and you might just fit into that, right? Which, by the way, I think is pretty baller. There's something very zen about that, where it's like, hey, listen, the money paid was in the past, and I live in the present. The present is all that matters, and I can dig that. What? I dropped his gun. Can I flip it up here using... Nope. I just got a lean. I got it. Alright, so that never looked great. But hey, it's accurate. That's a gun on a roof. But hey, force chip ignition! Do they leave enough finger room to get these to flip at? They do. By the way, these red wings, absolutely palm or at least very nylon-y plastic. Super durable. You can just dig in there with your fingernail. Don't worry about it. Yeah, that transformation felt amazing. That transformation felt amazing. I had to push that back down. I didn't have to guess a single thing. Aside from, like, squishing all this stuff together. Everything just went together. Super simple. More or less exactly how it worked, just in different ways, but everything goes in the same spot. Was it going to change much, given that the Cybertron toys were very much designed in a very, like, the toy is the character kind of way? Probably not. Rexodus, maybe Zen, but you're probably better at saving money than me. Nope! Is what I'll say. I am bad at saving money. Especially as, like, a freelancer who should be doing that more often. The wheels, by the way, are opaque. I, for some reason, thought these were going to be translucent. I'm a little bummed out, but I'll live. Mosatron, I wish the yellow got another coat. Oh, yeah, you can tell. It's yellow, by the way. Another very transparent color in all paint. And yeah, you can see, since it's over a blue, yellow over blue, the fact that we can identify it as yellow is already, to me, impressive. But yeah, it's got that greenening, because you can obviously see some of this turquoise-ish seafoam blue underneath. Turquoise is not the right way to define that. Some color theory person is about to kill me. Why would his wheels be translucent? I know he's not from Speedia, but, like, look at him. He's basically from Speedia. I want space wheels. I just want space wheels. Rexus, apparently Army Painter Fanatics yellow is a pretty darn good yellow. Yeah, so is Pro Acryls. I mean, I'm absolutely monument hobby pilled. I have a spare one of these for whenever one of my other two runs out. But their yellow is also really good coverage, especially once you get two coats on. This is the best, like, white acrylic paint on the market. If you just want white paint, get you one of these. This stuff kicks ass. But yeah, yellow and red generally are supposed to go on over a lighter, or over an undercoat of some kind. Not necessarily white, but they're supposed to go on over some kind of undercoat that will enhance what you're seeing, because you will see some of the undercoat through the red or yellow paint. Rexodus, yeah, Rexodus, you know what's up. My other spare is their black wash, because this stuff is low-key amazing. It's almost like contrast paint, but it's not, and it's a wash. I really like their, for certain, like, you have to be doing the right things with this, but for a lot of the tasks I want a black wash to do, the monument black wash, like, friggin', it does the, like, skin-forming thing that contrast does. Listen, I'm tempting you with a bottle of paint, alright? I'm not saying... You don't have to buy the whole set of anything. I'm just saying. Excuse me. Why don't more cars have translucent wheels? JT Elm, I got your back. Cypher, hello! The clear wheels remind me how we never ever got a Velocitron depiction that hit even a tenth of the planet's potential. It's because we only got it like twice, right? Well, like we got it 2.5 times because we got Galaxy Forces, we got Cybertrons, and then we got very briefly IDWs. And Galaxy Force and Cybertrons, they're basically the same, but also they're like the scripts for those shows were so ever so slightly different. I always call them like they're like a 1/2. I don't know why I'm gesticulating so much, but oh yeah, Ronnie Lane. Links usually don't work in YouTube chat. That's a YouTube thing. Only mods and me can post links reliably in the chat here. Oh, it was in both. Yeah, it was in both IDWs. My apologies. Yeah, 3.5. 3.5. Oh yeah, and Cyber. Yeah, because it was in Cyberverse to die. So yeah, we got it. We got the real one in 2 languages, 1.5. We'll round it down to 1. The IDWs were pretty cool, but yeah, IDW 2 we got a mini series there, but then we left. IDW 1 we had reps from there, but I don't think we really got to know Velocitron very well. And yeah, Cyberverse killed it, kind of gruesomely immediately. Oh, it was also in Exiles. I have never read Exiles. So I always forget what happens in it. Rexodus, is your chat set to show all? Yes. Now I do that as part of my setup. Anyway, yeah, this toy is really cool. I think this is probably a really nice, like, generational check-in toy. If you're not into some of what modern Transformers are, this feels like they just modernized, like, an old one in a way that feels almost the same, but slightly better. I guess the price will suck because deluxes were cheaper back then. But, no, I mean, I got no complaints, really. Even this yellow being a little bit green feels like what I remember from the old one, but I'd have to check. That might just be my memory playing tricks. Toy Guy. Exodus, Exiles, Retribution are so nice. Shame Retribution's like $90 here. Oi! Yikes. Those books should... I mean, this is just a modern thing, and I guess as streaming services go nuts and lousy, I'm going to lose this someday, but I still feel like if a book comes out, like, there should be a digital release to go with it to avoid print runs turning books into $90 paperbacks, but I don't know what the status of digital is on those Transformers books. A wave sign, Volfog. Oh, this is also so Volfog. Generation Selects Volfog would blow my mind. Just call him Voltfog or something. Voltfrogger. Like, I know the repaint of this is probably just going to be the Exilion red, but a Volfog with a new head and just figure out a Transformers way to get him in there. Speaking of heads, how the hell do you get the head back out? Okay, there we go. There is a ridge here, so you kind of need to fingernail it out. So sometimes I'll be able to do that. Toy Guy, there are PDFs of the book online. Okay, so at least it's available. That's the main thing. And yes, that's why Prime Exilion was in a listing leak, so hey, what's up? Oh yeah, Timo, I mean, I'm talking about the Align novels, like not comics, but like legit novels. I don't think those were in any of the Humble Bundles, because those weren't IDW, right? Like, those were whoever the hell sells pictureless books. Whatever you call them. Rexodus, yeah, I haven't read that either. The original James Roberts novel, whose name I always know until someone asks me what it is. I've been very bad about reading actual Transformers novels, because, like... Hang on a second. Oh, right. Hang on. Sorry, I'm totally getting sidetracked. I'm very bad about reading actual Transformers novels. Anyway, the transformation joint on this, plus the ball socket joint, means this guy can actually, like, pump his head forward. Look at this. That's some good action. That's in the heat of the night. Okay, we clearly got pictureless books. Listen. Are they not pictureless books? Someday I gotta figure out how to get myself to actually read books more. That's always been a weakness of mine. I'm a very stereotypical gamer cartoons, toys nerd in that someone shows me a book and I'm like, huh? I've read like 15, 20 Discworld novels. I read so much when I was in K-12, and then the rise of the internet burned it out of me, and I don't know why. I do like audiobooks. I'm a big audiobooks person. I'm assuming the Transformers ones aren't on there. I'm just going to move this out of the way. We do have one more subject. Sam Lobo, I agree. Reading is for nerds. I've never read anything in my entire life. Using the internet has been very hard. Thank goodness for YouTube. I got one other one. This was also sitting behind me the whole time. So, hey, listen, I resisted opening 2 very exciting to me toys for like a week and a half, so, praise me. I'm excited about this, because I love G-Axis, and when this got announced, I was like, just sitting there going like, just make me a G-Axis partial, please! And then they did this. Everyone starts a discourse about whether this is good or not, and I'm just like, they made me my G-Axis partial! Ayo! And I'm like so happy, and then I just didn't read any of the discussion. So I know this is you know, has had its controversies. It's not a perfect Vector Prime, etc. And most of the criticisms are completely right. I just don't care. We got an Archer monster in here. Yeah, Vector came out in Canada at the start of the month, and then I think started showing up in the States shortly afterwards, but all of my GameStop pre-orders on the 2 Cybertron guys just popped up at Canadian GameStop in, like, early June. JTL, only someone with amazing blood pressure could wait to open figures. That's me. That's me. 125/77, 80 BPM. How's it going? And yeah, Army of Bees found him in Utah today. In Utah. I can, yeah, Oinezra, I can like, you know, there's things, like, yeah, the legs aren't retooled, and that makes him look more like G-Axis. The main crit that I actually agreed with, and it's just a budgetary thing, is, like, I wish that his burgundy went up to up on the forearms a bit more. Like with any Vector Prime, I wish that he just had the paint budget of a size class above him. When this character first appeared, I bought the Galaxy Force version, and I never owned the Cybertron version because I had the Galaxy Force version, which looked better, and was more expensive because it had more paint. And that was just me. So I'm always on the side of, like, you know, give Vector Prime infinity paint budget, please. I do have paint, but you want me to color match burgundy? I do not have that much courage. I'm still just a junior 3G member. I color matching burgundy, and like, if it's not a primary, I'm terrified to color match. JTL, my complaint's got visible wires instead of visible cogs and gears. Yeah, I think that's also a parsing thing. Because when it came to the complaints about these bits, I was kind of like, well, he's old. But, you know, I understand, like, that, you know, Clockwork would be more on topic than, you know, Derek Yoniger. Just like I said, it's not invalid. I don't think many of the complaints were really that invalid. I just think that he became a thing to have fights about for a week, and, like, you know, that's sort of, as people are still kind of, like, operating in a how do you put this? Twitter is an ugly, ugly website now, and I think it inherently makes you, like, this used to be a thing that I would kind of get sick of hearing. It's like, oh, Twitter makes everyone more angry. But the Twitter website is so ugly to look at now, unless you are very controlled about your use of it. I kind of get people just inherently being 100 times more aggro now, because it's like, you know, sift through whatever the hell is in the hidden replies, you know? Twitter used to be nice to look at. I don't know what X is. Never heard of X. I just go to Twitter now for, like, if something happened, it'll usually serve it to me when I go looking for it, and then I leave. Well, first I'll check if it's been a week, and then I'll re-spam my Toy Hacks code, Van Juneless, by the way, for a few more days. You can find it in the community page postings on my YouTube channel. Oh yeah, TF message boards are also their own special kind of communities of getting into fights, and hey, I got into fights on message boards all the time. That's why, to a certain degree, I'm kind of like, whenever someone's like, "Oh, the community's being torn apart," it's kind of like, no, people are they're doing the thing to get it out of their system. You know, allow them to do that and just don't participate. His next one's code Vanguli. That's not close to brand enough for me, so I don't know yet. Toy Guy, Vangelis and I are going to get in a fight at TFCon in 2.5 weeks. Damn straight! I'm going to get in a fight if like... So every time I see Toy Guy at TFCons, now that like we know each other, I'm always noticing, like, Toy Guy, you're always like tour guiding like a group of 50 people. And so it's not Toy Guy I want to get in a fight with. It's all of Toy Guy's friends where I'm like, are you all tipping? Are you tipping? Given how you have a local area tour guide showing you around everywhere and organizing you frigging herd of cats? And I need to check on them. I need to check on these folks. Mosatron, have you been watching the Uncle Howdy stuff? I have been, because I love that kind of stuff. I think that it's really interesting, the approach they're doing. Every time I thought they were going to make a very rote wrestling-ass kind of decision, they haven't, and that surprised me in a happy way. I'm a very big believer that like pro wrestling needs to be treated as a creative medium going forward, and that, like, obviously with the usual stuff going on, people got to be allowed to experiment in it and do weird stuff. Otherwise, what's the purpose of the medium, right? Also, I did the thing just unconsciously, but his force chip tabs in there. That's how they made this work. What will you buy at TFCon? Ideally, Ideally, I'll find at least one Transformer at TFCon. Toy Guy got 11 people tour guiding this year. A bunch of Americans and a Brit. Literally, they need to buy your meals for you. That's just okay. Well, I'm also outside of. I'm not involved whatsoever, and I'm highly biased. So obviously, I'm just picking on your friends. But no more cloaca plug. I don't think so. Fandom stuff. Yeah, I've gone on about it before. Like, the thing about fandoms, right, is it's, in the end, fandoms are fine. It's just all about how you allow yourself to be defined by your hobbies as opposed to your hobbies defining you. I think that's always going to be the key. Rexodus, what don't you think should be a creative... I think everything should be, to be honest. I guess, like... politics and political policy that can cause people to become dead probably shouldn't be a creative medium. But, I mean, when it comes to anything that is hobby or entertainment, entertainment literally is a series of creative mediums. And that stuff's gotta be... People gotta be allowed to experiment. Do you still buy Magic Square stuff? I do when I get the chance. I usually try to go for, like, with Magic Square, I get the actual colors, and then if there's a New Age version, I wait for a funny New Age alternate color scheme. That usually leaves me happy. Yeah, if these had one more hinge outward, these things would have been absolute gold. I don't mind them as they are, but I am finding I'm just sort of limited to, like, jet boosters. Got someone talking about Zedbots. Aria Bees, the term fandom implies the existence of a fan sub. Hey. Tank Hunter 48. What's up? Looks a bit better on camera. Yeah, generally, a lot of toys look better when they're not so much on camera or in. It's not so much about being on camera and stock photos. It's about, can you do this? Because it's like, I took a still photo. This toy looks terrible. I took a still photo. This toy suddenly looks better. You know, that's been a thing since 06 Rodimus is when I first kind of like identified that for myself. But also, in person, like, the colors on this look great. The burgundy is gorgeous. The gold is a specific shade of gold that plays off the burgundy so well. I mean, like, that's Mark Marr type stuff, right? Mark Marr, former prototype painter, constantly asserts how much he thinks about color stuff. Like, you can see the fingerprints. Not to say he's the only one, but, like, you know, he's involved in the process. Evangelist, Super Smash Gamer, will you meet Gary Chalk? Hopefully. Cypher also making the point, TF community, like, if you want to get to nitty gritty, the only time that there was a single place where all Transformers fans who are not children met up, it was when Usenet was where everyone was posting, because that was the entire internet. Even the message board days, it was a bunch of different communities who honestly barely interacted between each other. That's why message board feuds were such a bigger thing back then. By the way, that's a knee bend. And the GX's hands doing work here, by the way. GTL, fan subs are literally a subset of fandoms, the ultimate subordinate position. Eternally bottom and loving it. By the way, thing about this sword, I did not notice. I did not notice at all until I had this in person. It's two pieces of plastic and there's a hinge. I didn't know there was a hinge on the handle. That's kind of cool. And I don't know how well this is playing on camera. There is sparkle in this dark blue translucent. Like, legit sparkle. It's gorgeous when it's catching the light. I don't know if you can see it, though. It's in the wings, too. It's not something that plays on a webcam very well whatsoever. But if you get a chance to look at one of these in person, everything I'm talking about is not visible through the packaging window. So try to find your friends who have one and do this a bunch, and you'll see the sparkle. I missed a whole bunch of stuff. I apologize. Cygnus 7, Vector Prime looks weird without a spaceship on his back. He finally went to the gym. He finally got that weight spread out a little bit. Cypher also making a point, like, the wires, yeah, the renders, a lot of stock photos are a 3D model, and it's gonna harshen the shadows on Greeble like this. It is gray plastic at the end of the day, so it is gonna blend visually to a human eye a lot more. I mean, it's very deeply sculpted. If you've seen G-Axis, like, this will catch light a lot, but I pointed this out when this came out. They are in a very specifically shaped divot. If someone CAD designed a 3D printed, or at least 3D designed piece to glue over top of this, it would, I think, be very straightforward to do. You'd be gluing a plate onto a toy, and some people aren't comfortable with that, but, like, it's literally in a divot shaped like an armor plate. You just gotta make a plate like that with a greebly underside, or you just use gel glue and just go put it on top of there, and I think that would actually look pretty decent. Elson Quizmorio, I do live. Toy Guy, I noticed the clear material in this toy and TF1 Prime is ever so slightly softer than normal windshield plastic. Yeah, it's, well, this stuff is thick ass. Like, this is really thick. Also, the key has got the glitter effect, too. Maybe that's gonna pick it up a little bit. But yeah, it is a little flexy. I think that might be because of the glitter. Not the glitter causing it. It's just that it's a thick translucent plastic with glitter in it, and that might be creating like a different tactile experience than just like straight up clear plastic. Wash it. It's made for a wash. No, on Vector Prime, you got to paint each individual cable. You got to go nuts like on a friggin' Mechanicus Titan. Pick your cable colors for each one. Yeah, Toy Guy. Hopefully that means it holds up better over time. Maybe I don't think this is the case at all, but it'd be funny if it's like all we got to do is add glitter to the brittle stuff, and the glitter holds it together. Me pretending I know how this plastic stuff works. I'm gonna do something I saw on socials. I forgot where, but you can pull these. You can pull these wings off. Oh, I just minimized everything. Hang on my end. Where is it? There you are. Where's OBS? There you are. All right. Anyway, you can pull these things off. They have a 5mm peg here, so you can stick it on here. Friggin' baller. In my opinion, I think this looks awesome. Who needs swords when I can punch you with time travel wings? Oh yeah, I like the white on the original. It's more just I think that the paint detailing on the Galaxy Force is so ornate that. For the design was built for a premium paint job that I think didn't exist in North America back then. Yeah, this is actually Evo-fusion. Legit Evo-fusion. I wonder, are these 5mm peg compatible, these things? Do I have a socket somewhere? No, I only have pegs. Wait, I do have a socket. Okay, no, these are not 5mm pegs. These are still just like friction pegs. I was gonna say, if you could stick Mohawk's head on here, that would be like absolutely choice. Oh, you just roll these up here. Oh, these have 5mm ports on a. Okay, hang on. Wait, this turns. Why did I not notice this? Hang on a second. I was just saying I wanted one more joint, and I didn't notice this could turn. Okay, already helping a little bit. Sorry, I gotta mess with... Anyway, there... If you got, like, a gun, and you want to go full battle mode... I'm gonna let my toys fall over like a child. Friggin' Vector Prime fight stick mode. Is this what Evo-fusion... It only took him dropping the name Evo-fusion, and now Evo-fusion is truly awakened. Because Cybertron Starscream has a similar thing. When you take the wings off and stick them on the forearms, suddenly they kick ass. And apparently that's what the show model did at times. Anyway, I just noticed that mushroom peg swivel, so I gotta try a little bit of posery now that I know these can move around. They really, like, they loaded up Vector Prime with a lot of just, like, pegs and ports. So yeah, you can arrange the wings to look a little bit more cape-like. You know, obviously not perfect, but I think this creates the silhouette I'm looking for a whole lot more. You know, rather than just like that. Like, that just sort of looks like Macross to me. This looks more like low-key god. Low-key god of time. Not Loki, but low-key god of... Anyway, Vector Prime's a Transformers god. It's lore things, whatever. Friggin' my auto captions are even trying to marvel this stuff. Stop it! My other question, can you... Okay, there is a peg there, so you can... stick the... Hey. You can stick the sword back here at a slight angle so he looks all like a swordsman! Okay. Lore is where the robot cars come from. Yeah, friggin' reach back, draw your time sword. I know his sword has a name, but like, it's his time sword. That's how I've always remembered it, because I only ever watched Galaxy Force. I never saw Cybertron. I can't remember if they said the name of his sword on Cybertron, because I never saw it. Because my main thing I remember him for, right? If you watched either show, I think that he did it in both of them. But in Galaxy Force, you'd always see Vector Prime. Ah! I'm grabbing and twisting things. There we go. You'd always see Vector Prime, like, jumping like this and going, Dwah! And it's always the same, like, one stock shot. And he would always just, like, dog-ass fail. He'd always miss or get shot out of it. I just always remember the double hand overswing every time Vector Prime did it. And in Galaxy Force, always the same kind of anime yelled. Always the like, Dwah! And then he would always just eat it. He'd just get punched in the face, get shot out of the sky. It was so funny. He never got to hit someone with his sword, because he always did the same attack. And I just always imagine all the Decepticons were like, alright, listen. We got some intel on this Vector Prime kid. When he goes for the double overhead, you're going to notice that we go to a piece of stock footage. Just shoot. He'll always be trying to swing no matter what you do. Yeah, Chris Carr's the Ric Flair top rope spot. Rizzling is the name of the sword. Thank you, Flame War. In my headcanon, Rizzling is the sword he doesn't come with. This is his original second sword. The Time Sword. I just like the word, I like the phrase, the Time Sword, because it's like, what does that mean? What does a Time Sword do? By the way, I've been messing with this back stuff. There, you see this indent here. There's another indent up there that actually matches with this little diagonal tab. So these have an intended lock-in point, kind of. I think, at least on mine, a lot of this wing stuff needs a slight coat of thickener, a slight little shot of varnish painted on. A video I still have to make that I keep thinking I have made and I haven't. I have all these like experiment subjects. It's a complicated video now, but I got to do it. I want to do it before TFCon if I can. My video, the clickbait title is going to be something about how like floor polish is dead or something. You never need floor polish, because you also never need floor polish again. But I figure I finally get to actually do like a somewhat truthful clickbaity title, which is exciting to me because I hate clickbait titles. Yeah, Ronnie Lane, a time sword is the opposite of Hot Rod's time guns. Thank you. That's a perfect explanation, I think. Excuse me, I need some water. Super Smash Gamer, who's the youngest fan you met at TFCon? There was someone I'd met a couple times who was always there with his parents, or his mom at least, who was definitely, like, still in high school when he first introduced himself. I do not believe he's still in high school, because it's been many years, but I think that was the youngest person, and that was a little odd, but, like, because the parent was right there, and his mom was very cool. I don't know if I can't remember anyone's name anymore. It's been a few years, but his mom was always very cool and helped make things, you know, not feel strange. Because generally speaking, and I guess this is very topical today, as a YouTube creator / YouTube streamer, interacting with minors is never like something that you really like just want to go out and do for a whole lot of reasons. But this was like the perfect scenario because it was like, you know, parent is there. This is just someone who's interested in what I'm doing. We both have the same hobby, so it's all very positive. This person's mom was also very cool because she kind of, you know, she was good at ending the conversation. And, you know, when someone is, you know, I was assuming 15, 16, like, you know, you're not experienced in the art of conversation yet, and it can be a little odd to, like, end it. And this mom was very good at, in a very smooth and friendly way, going like, anyway, we got to get going. And it's like, hell yeah, hey, it's good to see you all again. There was a lack of disrespect. Trying to figure out how much I can just like allude to this stupid idiot whatever guy. Who's the coolest Aussie you've met at TFCon? You set me up. This is a setup. I can't answer this question. Name me. I used to live in Australia. Yeah, that toy guy. Renowned Australian origin Transformers fan. Vanisher. I'm here for 15 minutes for my cool Grandpa Vector. I'm gonna try to transform him. Right now. Wordplay is incredible. Wordplay is so neat. So my understanding is that maybe his legs work the same, but like everything here is completely different from G-Axis to some degree. Not completely different, but you know, it's not going to be like, oh, it's G-Axis. More stuff will belch out, and I'm kind of excited because I like G-Axis as a toy a lot. I know that that's not super common. That's neat. That's a 5mm peg. Holy moly. So that's why I've been so hype about a reshell of any kind, or a partial, or anything. I'm just like, I want another G-Axis, and I don't want to buy two of the same toy. I want one that's like someone else. We need more spaceship Transformers. I agree. I like spaceships. Ooh. The only thing about G-Axis that ever really bummed me out was just that, and this one I feel like maybe is accounting for it better, trying to like close the legs over top of the little ridges on here always felt kind of funny on G-Axis. This is already feeling like it's been designed with an order of operations more so in mind, and I'm kind of loving it. Also, like, yeah, I mean, I made it clear in the video I did for him. Like, I like Legacy G-Axis a lot, so I am unsurprised if we are... Excuse me? I'm unsurprised if we are sort of, you know, attracting a lot of the G-Axis enjoyers over here. This is neat. That's a... I didn't look into, like, what this guy actually did, so I was a little bit not expecting that to spin. We love it when the part spins. We love it when it spins. Anyway, you can just keep doing it. Brian, what are we shout? Why are we shouting? What's going on? What happened? Who do I need to beat up? Who's causing trouble? Can he have spaceship chest? Probably. I'll check that. I'm going to go back to the other mode in a bit. But oh, here we go. What was the whole discourse, right? What is the purpose of these things? So these actually hook in there. So they do serve a purpose. Hey. I know that was like deduced before, but I didn't really look into it. I just saw some of the chatter. Right. Apologies, Rexodus. Aaron says, now I can only see Vector Prime chest spinning through... This is how he travels through the timelines. This thing starts spinning faster and faster. Wait. This is actually... So he's just flying like a ship, right? Okay, like obviously you're supposed to put it over here. I think that's where you're supposed to put it, but we're not small time. So he's like, time to travel through time. Flip. Force chip ignition! And then this just starts spinning faster and faster, and he friggin' drills through time! They should be hiring me to write the shows for this stuff. Where do they want me to put this? And why does this bend? I didn't quite catch why this does this. Do I have safeguard? Not in this province, TLK, so I can't check it. But you're saying they put ports for him on this one. That's kind of cool. He's not a spaceship, he's a time drill. Friggin', if I could be a time drill... That's my new one. Hey, Evangelist, what do you want your alt mode to be if you're a Transformer? Time drill? I'm gonna see what they want me to do with the sword, because why does it have a hinge? The hinge never comes up? Okay. It has a hinge because they pinned the piece on. That's why. But, like... Yeah, Toy Guy, I think you're right. Toy Guy says, I think the handle is pinned solely because they had to attach hard plastic to clear plastic. But they left all this room for it to do this. Because, yeah, when they're like, where do you store the sword in alt mode? They're like, put it there. Because I was like, oh, maybe this will let it plug in somewhere funnier. Now I'm just like, oh, what are we going to do with this? Yeah, extra mounting options. It's just the fact that it flips both ways, and it has soft detents. Here. It's like it's designed to flip back and forth. Toy Guy, free hinge in this economy? I mean, right, though? PT, sword gun. Yeah, I think you're right. Well, the thing is, forearm sword, right? There's a peg here, too! So... I guess you could have it peg in without, like, this thing, like, jutting backwards. It's so it can droop. True. Why is your channel logo so scary? Listen, I can't help the way I look, alright? We got all the floppy penile quips coming in through the text chat today. It's true though. Yeah, like I like this. Like I would this look better if this was longer and pointier? Yes. Basically. But I'm happy enough. Like it's this is to me a neat Vector Prime out of a really cool G-axis, and I'm so like 2000s to 2010s BotCon coded to this day that that's why Generation Selects always makes me happy, because I'm like, oh look, they did a thing out of a thing. I'm also just enjoying this. Peg it on his vehicle mode, then the spaceship has a handle and becomes a big gun. You're right. Everyone's being so empathetic and kind to Vector Prime for his age. I'm very proud of you all. Now this is some brave stuff. This is Advenger stuff. This is Might Gunner. This is I deploy a handle and now I'm a giant time gun. This is, yeah, Evo-fusion. Power Link. Poor, this is... The Cybertron Hotshot toy, he literally feels like he's suffering trying to hold this up, but I'm going to see if I can balance it. Come on. Wow, cheap friggin' Hasbro Deluxe can't even hold an entire Voyager toy by one handle without his arm drooping. Cheap, lazy, friggin'... He's doing it, though. Got the quote of all time, quote, I tried this with my wife once, it did not go well. Hotshot is fighting God and winning. See, the canonical ending to Legacy. Armada Optimus Prime just grabs Vector Prime as a gun and shoots Hasbro, and then we move on to the next trilogy. Yeah, very, very Iron Man super canon. I'm going to turn this back into a robot. Also because I like the transformation on a G... Now I can say on a G-axis type. I like this transformation style. So now I have a G-axis type. Finally, I can put it in a nice little box. What is that? It's not his chin, is it? Okay, so that 5mm, this thing that the backpack pegs into, when you fold Vector Prime's head in, it actually clicks in with this little gray nub, which is found on here. For a second, because I forgot the color of his face, I thought that was Vector Prime's little, like, chin jaw, having its own special place to live back there, and I was about to be really endeared. I'm still endeared, but it's not the same. I appreciate how much we are here for the time drill. Yeah, Timu, it looked so chin. Do you think they'll make a Bronze Universe repaint? Maybe. I would rather, like, it was mentioned before, I think Cypher mentioned it, I would rather see the retail, like, super bright white as an alternate. Just call him Galaxy Force Vector Prime to make the wiki super confused and frustrated, but... I love Legacy Cybertron Universe Galaxy Force Voyager class Vector Prime. I am finding that these winglet things, they're really, like, snapping in place a little bit tighter than on my G-axis. This could just be, like, you know, they mass-produced a thing and some of them feel different, but, those wings are feeling a lot more solid on this than my G-axis. Alright, so moment of truth. Can we have... So, first, can this be folded up while we're doing this so it can be variable? Omega Supreme repaint of G-axis. I mean, please. For me, is a little treat. Okay, so this is normal chest. But then we are going to go drilling through time. It's me, Vector Prime from Universe DCS 1412 Alpha. I'm exactly like your Vector Prime, but I have 2 large nipples, and my chest is a little bit different, and I don't know what force chips are. That's canon now. Put it in the wiki. Super Smash Gamer, should I meet you at TFCon or will I get shamed for my age? You don't get shamed for your age. Just, like, you know, I'm always down to, like, say hi to folks, especially in the lobby. So, like, yeah, absolutely. And yeah, there's lots of younger people at TFCon. I think in general, you'll have a good time. My only caution is mostly, and this is going to sound weird when you're not in your adult years, but, like, there are a lot of reasons why adults when it comes to direct communication, you know, private messages, or in person at a show, right? There is a sort of inherent boundary of how much an adult should be interacting with a minor for just a lot of reasons. And especially, and this is going to sound really weird given that I'm the subject I am about to talk about, but when someone is a media maker, especially on a platform like YouTube, there is also an inherent, as I wave this around and yell about nipples, there is an inherent power imbalance as far as person is a viewer of the stuff I make. If the viewer is also, you know, underage, there is way more danger in that kind of encounter if it is not in a controlled kind of scenario with, you know, parent or guardian present, etc. So it's that's the only thing. You're not going to get shamed for it. No one's going to go like, look at this kid over here. Like that's highly unlikely to happen. But that's more so what I'm talking about. I don't want to make you feel like you're going to be unwelcome at the show. You're absolutely welcome at the show. Got Pee Pee Poo Poo asking about nips. They right here. Catch and light. Turn that chest back around. I don't want to. I like Bernstein Bears Universe Vector Prime. Super Smash Gamer, that's awesome. Yeah, especially if you've got family with you, then by all means, yeah. If you see me, say hi. Like, if I'm running somewhere, then you know, like I will apologize if I have to like cut and run. But I'm always down to say hi and meet folks and have a quick chat. I just usually am like, I want to have a quick chat, then I might be going somewhere. So I hope that's okay. I've gotten better over the years at smoothly exiting conversations without making people feel bad. But no, like, as you know, feel free to come by and say hello, especially if you got family with you. I'll fix the chest for all you friggin' normies. Don't. Jason Sawyer, how about Baron Stainbear's universe? That's gonna be the one who's in the like the weird bronze. Luke, I said hi to you when I attended TFCon and even managed to hold 2 conversations. Hey yo! I mean, especially at night when I'm just like lingering in the lobby or the quest or whatever, and I'm often put the nipples back out. Hell yeah, we got a request from the chat here. It's time. Could you take a picture with me if you end up meeting? Absolutely, absolutely. I'm as someone who is in the midst of like doing a stream and thus in that position. Like, what I'll say is, I'm always down to take a photo. I'm always down to say hi. If I've ever talked about like weird encounters, usually it's just like, and this doesn't really happen to me very much, and for whatever reason. But like, it's more of like if it's like, hey. What's up? Anyway, can I follow you around for like 2 hours? And I'm like, probably, especially if you're a minor, then I'm like super uncomfortable with that. But generally, like, I'm usually running around going places. I'm fine, like, in the dealer room with just like walking and talking. If I'm like on the way somewhere, I might end up going like, hey, I gotta go somewhere. And usually, if that's the case, I'm going to meet up with some folks where the understanding is they'll be meeting up with me. And I don't like showing up places with like extra folks who were not invited by the people who invited me to go there. But that's not a convention thing specifically. That's also just like part of the social agreement, right? It's not cool of me if I show up with like extra people to a thing, especially given the possibility it may be a limited seating thing. Like, hey, we made lunch reservations somewhere, and I'm like, cool, I got 4 more people. Get them. Get these jokers out of here. I brought new people. Get these old people out of here. Sideswipe Prime being super kind. Yeah, Super Smash. I'm what I'm trying to do basically is like say it's gonna be completely fine, especially if you hang out in on these streams, like, you know, yeah, it's like just say hi, take picture, and I'm not gonna be like now leave or anything. It's just I wanna lay it out, like if I'm in the midst of going somewhere, like that's just a thing that can happen. It sounds like the 2 panels I submitted may both be on the schedule whenever it shows up. I'm not 100% yet, but the language sounded like both were approved. I'm not sure yet. So I may have specifically 2 panels to do during the daytime. When I know all that stuff, I'll also try to be clear about where and when they're happening. So's if you're at TFCon, you can come watch, because surely you'll come and see your good old pal Chris doing his little quaint little panel he's just trying to do. Surely, have him hold his sword backwards. Done. Which backwards? Like, we talking sword pose backwards? And then you're like, oh, hey, old man Vector Prime, I've come to rob you while you're holding your sword the wrong way. And he's like, checkmate. Checkmate, it's a tonfa. Oh, Chris, yeah. I mean, the panels, unless something catastrophic happens, will be recorded and edited and etc. I'll get them up there. Humans are amazing creatures. They are. Streams are generally some of my favorite content on YouTube as a platform. Ark, that's very kind of you. Thank you. Ron Elaine, if I could do another con this year, let alone one that far, I'd be... Yeah, I mean, I've always said, especially since 2011, like, I'm in Toronto, so going to TFCon, quote-unquote Toronto in Mississauga, is a lot easier for me than even other Canadians who are cross-country, so, you know, taking advantage of my position, my physical position in my country. I hit my camera. Ron Elaine, I've done 2, Conchpalooza Houston and Fan Expo Dallas. Fan Expo, very disappointing to me. Fan Expo is the kind of thing where, again, there is one in Toronto, and sometimes I can get a media pass, and when that happens, I have enough fun. But, like, the idea that I would have, like, traveled cross-country to go to Fan Expo Toronto, paid for a hotel, and then felt obliged to go in for 2 to 4 days full-time to enjoy myself because I spent all that money, I think I would go nuts. Fan Expo is a very numbers-oriented show, and I'm assuming it's similar in Dallas. Very powerful walking stick, yeah. Not so, Alex, you're going to TFCon Baltimore, our first convention in years. Hell yeah. Hey, here's a question. Here's a question. I'll just put out there as though I thought of it myself, even though I didn't. On WTF and TFW, Transformers 2000, or TFW 2005 podcast that I've been doing for years and years and years, we used to do convention prep episodes. Obviously, in 2020, it became way less important to do convention prep episodes. We haven't really done one since. Do you think it's worth you, as a bunch of people who might listen to it, would you be interested in hearing a convention prep audio podcast? Aaron, I don't know how much I set you up with all that preamble to say that you are the one who posited the idea, but with me saying that literally I didn't think of this. But yeah, are you all interested? Because I figured, like, I was gonna, Aaron, what I was gonna say is, hell yeah, why not? But I figure, like, let's throw it out there to streamline and keep more time. Because yeah, like for those who haven't heard them, and they're all still up there for listening. Convention prep is basically, you know, we talk about the funny topics, like, and we try to do it in a way where it's not a joke when we do it, but we talk about, without making the whole thing a joke. For instance, why convention hygiene is actually incredibly important to your own mental health and enjoyment of the convention. But also, yeah, some do's and don'ts. You know, if you've never been to a dealer room, like ways to prepare for that. We usually talk a little bit about if it's your first show and you're not used to socially interacting in person with other fellow fans, like some of the way, because that is a massive hurdle, depending on, you know, your mental makeup and your experience in social situations and just your general comfort level. So we try to run through like a couple of scenarios of like, hey, here's some stuff that can happen which has left people confused or a little anxiety ridden before, and maybe we can head it off at the pass a little bit and explain what some of these situations mean. Like I was just doing earlier, like, you know, if I'm in the lobby and I'm going somewhere and you're like, hey, Chris, and I'm like, oh, hey, and I keep walking, I'll usually say, like, hey, I gotta be somewhere. Or Aaron will be like, stop talking to him, he has to be somewhere. Explaining that stuff beforehand, I think, really helps people feel comfortable in the moment, so you don't start questioning, like, oh, did I just horrifically offend this person? Did I make a massive social faux pas? Does he hate me now? For the record, no, I don't. You have to do a lot for me to hate you. You got to do a lot more than be awkward at a convention for me to hate you. That's not a challenge, by the way. What's up, Mangelus? Puke on the floor. Yeah, Cypher's got some good ones. Be aware of traffic flows, especially early in the dealer room. This is a big thing. Water bottle helps too. Yeah, you want... The nice thing about TFCon Toronto is there's water everywhere because it's a hotel. And that hotel, almost as a gimmick, have ice cube loaded water jugs and pitchers next to piles of disposable cups everywhere. So that stuff is... In Toronto especially, water is usually not a problem, which I like. Just say like your content, he hates you for... No, I really gotta record that thing I wrote months ago about the word content. It opens with me saying I don't mind if you use the word, because, like, you know, it's so embedded now. I can't assume the worst of anyone saying it. Oh yeah, Ronnie Lane. Yeah, there's the Toronto show doesn't have water bottle fountains, but there are so many pitchers. As long as your water bottle can open at the top, you're probably going to be set. Speaking of water, Smash Gamer, your dad will be so happy with the ice gimmick. Oh yeah. Also, there's a lot of chairs in the hallways. In the actual convention space, a lot of them have been moved out, but in the halls and the areas leading towards the convention space, there are benches and chairs and sofas everywhere. So if, say, someone is there and wants a break from the convention, it's not impossible to just find a nice place to sit down and center. Censored water. By the way, I do think I'm gonna put this into gun mode. I do think this toy is really cool for my tastes. Not so, Alex. You're gonna box shred Legacy Beachcomber. How the hell did you get Legacy Beachcomber? If you walk into TFCon saying, "Hey, I got me a Legacy Beachcomber," you're gonna get mobbed. You're gonna get straight up mobbed. It's people going like, "How? Where?" I'll pay you $60 for one. I won't. I myself won't, but... Ronnie Lane BRB pillaging Not So Alex's house. Redacted drinking fluid flame war, hell yeah. I'm gonna be like the puppet master or whatever from Ghost in the Shell, just freaking live hack everyone's digital eye implants so my drinks are always blurred out. No, Legacy Beachcomber, without fail, in dealer rooms is always, like, at least double retail whenever I see him now. Because that wave just didn't exist in Canada. I mean, it existed, but, you know, everyone who says they got one for real is a liar. But, no, the Beachcomber wave was extremely hard to find up here. And Beachcomber is the prize piece from that wave for a lot of people. So, Legacy Beachcomber... who, like, right down to the... I don't have one, but right down to the very design of that toy is supposed to be, like, here's the deadest-assest, simplest deluxe of a dead-ass simple 84 character. We're gonna pump some of the budget that we have left over into just big, thick, silicone, rubbery wheels. There's gonna be a 5mm parrot. Super fun piece. Anyway, impossible to find. DevCon was the same wave. DevCon, though, was not Beachcomber. I have now and then seen a DevCon once or twice, usually next at a dealer table, next to an empty spot where a Beachcomber used to be. Is everyone buys Beachcomber is the thing, and so DevCon by proxy is less expensive because there are more left behind. But the Beachcomber is one of those things where I'm not really mad about it because, like, most of us are in the same position. So I'm like, hey, it's a shared quest. It's not like there were Beachcombers everywhere and I missed out. It's like, no, there were like 10 Beachcombers and Not So Alex has one of them. So yeah, Beachcomber's totally going to get... If the leak list of that final Legacy United wave that is almost entirely package refreshes is true... and just following the general pattern, I think package refreshes of toys that are demonstrably hard to find about a year or two after the fact is probably going to be commonplace in Transformers going forward, because it also means that less new toys have to be developed to fill out what a retailer wants from a toy line as far as its presence as new product in a warehouse, right? If they can have package refreshes of stuff that proved hard to find, that's one less redeco to have to do. And I mean, that can be seen as a negative, absolutely. But I'm just thinking, like, okay, proactively, glass half full, if the toy industry is, like, demonstrably suffering, right? And it's it's harder to just get, like, fresh stuff plugged into every slot. If some of those slots can just be, hey, this toy was impossible to find, let's fit it in here, I think that's a win-win for everyone. And it means usually, I would assume, someone who works in packaging also gets still paid to design the packaging for the package refresh. So, you know, everyone wins a little bit. I missed a whole bunch of the text chat while I was going on that tangent. I am really pleased with this light I got. I wonder if I can show you the box. It's a Logitech Litra Beam. You can adjust the temperature and the brightness, etc. You can do it over Bluetooth, too. You don't have to have it jacked in. They made a big point when I jacked it in. They're like, hey, if you don't want to have it plugged into one of your USB ports, plug it into a wall with a USB adapter or wall outlet thing, and then use Bluetooth to control it from your computer. And it's like, okay. It also just has buttons, so you don't have to use the computer. Griffman, hello! Yeah, not so Alex. I also would... I think package refreshes really... Like, if I had a theory about the next 5 years of collector toys, generations, right? It's probably... I would say package refreshes being a bigger aspect is going to probably be a thing. So, like, you know, it means less new things are coming out, but in the end, it also means that you don't have to friggin' panic every time a new thing comes out, right? Of like, oh no, can I do my 1 year quasi-computational sine wave time budget, because also every release date might happen 2 to 6 months before the announced release date, right? If you could just think like, hey, sometimes they'll just show up, you know? Then I think it's a win-win for everybody. And yeah, it means that, like, if they've really kind of hit a definitive version of a nostalgia-oriented character piece, then they can just re-release it, yeah. Aaron saying, nice thing about Unicron Trilogy was wave overlaps. I vaguely remember this. In the like, when the Unicron Trilogy was going on, I still didn't entirely comprehend what waves were. I wasn't deep in enough yet. But also I was in Canada, so my waves didn't work quite the same timing-wise. Distro was still not 100% on par with what Americans had at the time. I guess I should say I was on an island in Canada, too. And yeah, things like Wheeljack and RC and Kingdom, like, I think that those package refreshes are also just part of the learning process. I feel like those two were in part that they just had a bunch. Like, I don't know if it's ever confirmed either way. I always got the impression that those two were just like, we still have some. New package. Robot Lorekeeper tagging out. Take it easy. Oh yeah, we gotta put the nipples back out. Yeah, this is Nippleverse Vector Prime's famous gun sword. Oh, JTL, early 2000s collecting in West Coast Canada was like, it was easier for me to go take a ferry to the mainland and buy Binal Tech than to try to find alternators. That's part of the reason I collected Binal Tech over alternators. I never saw most of alternators. Binal Tech, I could go to an import store and just buy it in person. Cypher saying, given the timing, Wheeljack and RC were probably decided on long before they became peg warmers. Yeah, that's more likely. That's more likely. I always like the idea of just like, because I also wanted to believe, rather than landfill, right? If there was a lot of leftover stuff going through liquidation, some of it could just be like, just pull the tray out, just put the tray in the new box, here we go. I mean, I know the trays were different, but... will we see a comparison between Hotshot and Override to get the family reunion? Dang it, I don't remember where my Override is. I'll probably, for video footage, do that. I do not have Override immediately handy. and I don't want to wander off. I think I know where she is, but I don't want to wander off. TF Closet, yeah, I believe Wheeljack was at one point going to get a third repack and then didn't. And yeah, Studio Series RC was also just like this weirdly aggressively, like, nearly strictly better toy that they put out, like, in spitting distance. Chris Carter's Games Workshops do the Rebox redistro thing. Ah, that's true, yeah. Because yeah, they don't have box inserts. They just got sprues. Yeah, I'm a big Studio Series RC enjoyer. I like that toy a lot. It hits a lot of the notes that I really liked from Alex Kubalski's RC that was done through Ocular Max. Yeah, Rexodus, the TTRPG stuff, it still remains that, like, I don't want to DM, because I don't know how. And that seems like that's always kind of been the static state of the Transformers TTRPG, is lots of people who don't want to DM are all interested in playing it. Oh yeah, Titan's Return RC is also solid. Studio Series 86 RC on sale in Amazon America for $12 right now. If you don't have the toy, that toy is super worth $12 in my opinion. It is like a mini masterpiece as far as, like, messing with it. There's just really good geometry. Not So Southern Gentleman, you got the Amazon Barrage and Chop Shop today. I did not know that was shipping. I know someone got the box last week or something, but I wasn't sure if it actually shipped. Titan's Return RC was not a convention toy. She was a weird exclusive, but I believe she was digitally available. I might be wrong. She was one of those weird black box ones, right? It was her and the Monster Bot. That was such a weird micro era, those two. Yeah, she premiered at HasCon. And then was on Hasbro Toy Shop. Okay, yeah. Like Primitive Skateboarding Optimus. I forgot that existed. I know what those words are put together now, but I can't remember what it looks like. Griffman, she also showed up at Toys R Us right before it died. That's right! She was like a chase figure for a little while. Shredicus Maximus, that's right! Super Smash Gamer, I kind of wish we had Target just so that there was, like, one more competing thing in the Walmart-like space, but we had Target briefly, and Target screwed it up so badly, I don't think we're ever going to get them again, but, you know. Yeah, I forgot about Shredicus Maximus. I think I really wanted that too, but then I had to give up the chase on it. Let's give up the ghost. I don't know if that makes any sense in that context. Yeah, Target got friggin' torn open. Like, they showed up in a way where everyone hated them. Because Target showed up doing a Mr. Rogers Welcome Us to Your Neighborhood bit with the song and everything, and it made everyone just go like, you keep Fred Rogers' name out of your mouth. And that was their introduction to our country, was the country going like, excuse me? You are wearing the specter of Fred Rogers? Who do you think you are? And then it completely disintegrated within a year. Yeah, an absolute... They biffed it the moment they announced they were coming in. Made everyone think that they were some weird American company. And also, Target ended up just moving into, if I remember correctly, they moved into a lot of former Zellers spaces, and Zellers spaces in Canada are literally cursed liminal spaces. Things don't open there anymore. For a lot of reasons, because they're haunted. So, so they came in offending the ghost of Fred Rogers, and then they set up in a haunted Zellers burial sites. So they asked for it. They absolutely came in taunting the devil, and then the devil backhanded them. Fred Rogers is Mr. Rogers from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Did they even charge less or on par with Walmart at the start? I can't remember, because when they came here, I had already moved to Toronto, and the closest Target to me was a 20-minute subway ride in the opposite direction from everything else. So I only went like twice before they closed down. I don't remember what the prices were. Mosatron, the local corpse of my Zeller's Target is now a Marshall's Home Sense. Yeah, that's the final form. That, like, Marshall's Home Sense, that's not a store that, like, that chain is not owned by humans. That chain is the underworld kind of like coalescing up, sort of like a bunch of bone marrow flooding up from an open bone wound, and then crystallizing, and eventually you see a Marshall's Home Sense logo underneath the film, right? So that's no problem. I remember someone complaining about how they couldn't find socks at a Canadian Target. Yeah, that tracks. I remember when Target was closing down and I went to try to get cheap toys. I grabbed a handful of things and I went to check out, and the cashier was kind of like stuck. So I was just like, hey, what's up? And the cashier was just what, like, here, look. And she turned her monitor around, and it was just like the entire point of sale system was completely, like, disintegrating. Like, it couldn't connect to database, it couldn't anything. And I was like, damn, what's up with that? And the cashier was basically like, I don't know, the managers all left at the start of the week, it's just us here. And I was like, so y'all are, like, what happens when anything breaks? Cashier was like, I clock out early. And I was like, they kind of threw you to the wolves, huh? She's like, yep. I'm like, well, can I buy these still? So basically, at least at the one I went to, the Canadian Target exit was the last people left were the cashiers. So some of them were just operating like systems where the tech team didn't exist anymore, where the manager team didn't exist anymore. They were simply coming into work to get paid because, as far as they knew, they still could. But the entire system was just falling apart. Yeah, just take them. I think it was sort of like that at a certain point when the liquidation was deep enough, and the system was just like crumpling. It was just like, we're gonna guess a price, and like, do you got cash? I'm kind of like anecdotally saying this. I don't remember for sure. This was also so many years ago. But I heard Targets in Canada in other places were pretty solid at times. I remember apparently when they opened one up on the island out west, my dad, when he saw the big red Target balls, my dad apparently tried to knock one over because he thought that they were, you know, balls sitting on the sidewalk. So he was like, oh, I'm gonna kick this. And he kicked it, and he was like, ah! Because, you know, it's a thing is like lodged into the concrete. Suffice to say, my dad kicked Target in the balls. Here, Exodus, I kick those. Yeah, I kick those every time I go to the States. I kick a Target in the balls if I'm buy one because I got it, right. We don't have them here anymore. The balls actually stayed for a while in some spots, if I understand correctly. It's like Target died, but its inflated balls just lingered on the sidewalk. You could kick them, but there was nothing behind them, you know. Oh, he was okay. My dad didn't go full gusto because he thought it was like a beach ball, so he wasn't about to like toe punt the thing. He was just startled by the solidity of if I remember my mom's story correctly enough. I missed somewhat the Target versus Walmart comparison. It is from my experience, Targets are nicer than Walmarts, at least how they present in the States. A Target in the States, you kind of know where everything's going to be. If you don't look too hard, it kind of looks like a nice department store in some spots at times. I wouldn't say that, like, a Target is... How do you put this? I would say I don't want to overstate the quality of a Target, is what I would say. I don't want to overstate and over-present the quality of a Target, because there is a low ceiling, and eventually that will lead to disappointment if you're not from America and you're seeing a Target for the first time. Yeah, Cypher putting it. I wouldn't call Target upscale. Yeah, PT, I agree. Target is the class above Walmart. That can be non-derogatory or derogatory. It depends what you're talking about. So, Walmart is for the boys, Target is for the men? These comparisons are amazing. Yeah, Flamemore, Target. Yeah, Targets, that's the other thing, is Walmarts are just friggin' chaos generators. Because Targets, like, I know where the toys are in a Target most of the time. And that's messed up, because I don't even live in the States. I've just been to enough Targets. Walmarts are just like, there's sometimes an escalator. Sometimes the toys are up there. Sometimes there's a mini-so. What are some other comparisons here? Rexit with Walmart is a predator wearing a cheap plastic mask. Target is a guy trying to make it through the day. Zero, I agree. Target, solid C. They got decent Madeleines. They are cheap. They're oversugared, but they got good mouthfeel. And yeah, they both sell Transformers. That's Temu. That's the big reason why, to this day, I kind of wish Target had stuck around, because that's one less place that has Transformers in Canada, right? We bought the robot with Target, land of the red and home of the balls. Not so Southern Gentlemen. A lot of Walmarts I've seen are 2-floor super Walmarts with escalators. Because they always have that escalator middle track that you're supposed to load your shopping cart into, and it always breaks down at least like 45 times a day. Oh, Cypher, we still got price scanners in Walmarts in Canada. They help me not buy things sometimes, because sometimes Walmart prices are above MSRP now. And I thought the whole point of Walmart is it's the big box cheap-ass store. And then the Rise of the Beast mainline Voyagers for $50 when they came out at first. This fellow Natso is confusing my ears. We do in fact, we have achieved the double Natso in the audience today. Might have stronger online privacy laws there. Maybe. Can I get a Toys R Us price rant out of you? TLK, like, it's not even like a price rant anymore. It's just like Toys R Us is so freaking depressing now. I think I've talked about this before, and only Canadians are going to understand this, I think, and maybe some UK folks, because of the certain name I'm going to say. Toys R Us in Canada is now reorienting to have an HMV section. That is HMV. The dead brand HMV is now soon to... Okay, hang on, let me collect myself, because I just went on, like, I had 4 different paths open in my brain. So the new Toys R Us opened on the island. Face Forward's been there. I did make it into the new one. My mom and I both came out of there existentially altered, and I don't know if it was for the worse or for the better. So, they have a section that is branded HMV because that was bought up by the Sunrise Records guy who owns Toys R Us in Canada. And apparently they intend to sell music and video there. And when I went there, they had just racks of vinyl records. And the guy setting up was telling us, yeah, we're going to be getting in CDs too. To which my mom she just went right in. She was like, are you going to sell players so people can listen to the CDs or records? And the guy who worked there was like, that's a great question. We probably should. So they're going to sell, apparently, I think he said cassettes maybe as well. They're going to sell a bunch of physical media that a number of people, in fact, don't have the hardware to play anymore. And they're not going to sell any of the hardware to play it. And it's all branded as HMV in the middle of a Toys R Us. And it's completely messed up. It's absolutely messed up. It was just amazing because, yeah, it was my mom, because she's on the lookout for a CD player, but like a nice one. And so she was but she was also, she put the logic together immediately. If I remember right, she went to engage with the HMV section, whilst I went to go espy the Transformers section, pitiful as it was. And then I went over to the HMV section, and I'm the one who said, why are they selling vinyls? And she was like, I got a story to tell you. What other defunct store? I think, weren't they... I mean, Zellers was trying to get Zeddy to come back through the Hudson's Bay Company, right? Wasn't that a thing? There was like, there are these like pop-up Zellers with Zeddy as like little like pop-ups, nostalgia bait things now. Not so Southern Gentleman. The other not so is Not So Alex. Will they sell zip discs? I mean, maybe. It's just like, because, yeah, GameStop is also just a nerd boutique now, but at least with GameStop, it's like, they feel like they're a living store. Toys R Us has this extremely corpse-like quality to it, is the best way I can put it. It's corpse-like. I need to know who bought Future... Actually, no, Best Buy bought Future Shop, so we're unlikely to see Future Shop come back again. Because Best Buy bought Future Shop because for a while there were Future Shops open in spitting distance of Best Buys, and it was really confusing because we knew they were owned by the same people. And then the day that they killed Future Shop, everyone working there found out because the door was locked when they got to work in the morning. Yeah, I've heard GameStop is kind of like, it has corpse quality in the States. GameStop in Canada still feels alive. It's so friggin' weird to hear about American GameStops. I think we got the not-sos connecting here. We do. All right. Yeah, American GameStop has been a corpse for at least 14 years, says Rexodus. Yeah, in Canada, GameStop, and for a while, Toys R Us, were both just running along fine. And then, if I recall correctly, and please don't take my word as gospel, I'm very vaguely recollecting some stuff. I think the Canadian versions of them were doing so well that then they had the American version's debt offloaded onto them, which subsequently obliterated what was going on. Trans Drummer 1312, hello. Oh, you know what? Funko Pop, the words popping up in chat reminded me. So I went to Meeple Mart the other day, local area hobby store that have a toy section. They have a Funko wall in the back corner. I was looking through the shelves next to it where the non-Funkos are, and I heard the funniest little conversation where two friends were walking around chatting with each other. One of them was talking about something and pointing at a Funko, and then his friend went like, "Oh, so you actually like those, or are you one of those people who doesn't like them?" And then his friend went like, "No, I love these things. I'm not one of those people. I enjoy my Funkos. I like these. I'm excited about this one and this one." And they kept going on. And I was like, it was like friend A is a Funko Pop lover. Friend B like hadn't clocked yet whether friend A was a Funko enjoyer, and then like the way that friend B went like, "Oh yeah, this thing. Unless, well, do you like them, or are you one of those folks who doesn't like?" It sounded like someone trying to clock someone's like friggin' religion, like, I don't know how else to put this. It's like if they went like, "Yeah, this place makes great hot dogs. The hot dogs have pork in them. You know, just there's pork in the hot dogs. If you know, but it was like Funko Pops." Anyway, I had to like fight every frigging instinct, every post 2020 instinct, not just like wing around the corner and start like observing them like I'm a friggin' no clipper in Gmod or something. Because I was hearing half the conversation and then that line, and I was like, what? Just me, like walk. All I was doing, I was trying to figure out the product line hierarchy of 30-minute mission, because there was a whole ton of 30mm stuff there, and I was like, people always talk about this. So I'm like staring and looking at all the 30mm stuff, trying to figure out what goes with what. And then I hear this conversation somewhere in the distance, and like, rip 30mm, my attention just left. I was like, I need to go stand near the play arts for a second, because what are they saying? What's going... Anyway, that was my little story. Rex has never heard of 30mm. It's basically like, it's not Gunpla, but it's like Gunpla, but it's simpler, and there's a bajillion add-on parts. Lano Joseph 87 actually working on a 30mm right now. Yeah, TLK, it's called Meeple Mart. Just put them together as one word, .com, or put them into Google Maps. They got Gundams, they got tabletop games, they got lots of everything. They got a pinball arcade now. It seems they inherited like a Stern pinball collection, so they just run a pinball arcade next to the board games shelves now. Those 30-minute mission are not Gundams, but they're robots, and they have a bajillion add-on kits. And then they also have add-on kits to turn the robots into anime girls, should you choose to, is my understanding. Oh yeah, Aaron, it's open, and it is just there. And it's extremely loud. Every time I go, I like walking through the board game corridor now, because the entire board game section physically is vibrating from like 8 Stern pinball machines just blaring noise. It's really funny. Waveside says 30mm feels like a sequel to Sprue Kits. Kinda, yeah. Sizeway Prime says there's also 30-minute Sisters, which is the anime girls, and now 30-minute Fantasy, which is Knights. And yeah, a lot of it is all cross-compatible, and it's all just add-on parts. Like, there's base body kits, and the add-ons are not expensive. It's just like, here's a baggie with extra hands. Here's a baggie with shoulder armor that has a thing you can stick on it. Here's a baggie with wings, I think that the pinball arcade is token-based, so you still have to go get some tokens, but they have, like, the Batman, the Adam West Batman machine. They got a Star Wars machine, a Star Trek machine, a Transformers machine. It's just a whole bunch of modern Stern pinball machines. Oh, Mimicry, those add-ons are like $20. So I never look at the prices. I only glanced at the prices recently, and I was looking at the hand packs. I just used to add-ons kits also being like, oh, at least $40. Oh yeah, Aaron. Yeah, they got lots of Joy Toys still. A lot of the 40K Joy Toys under a cabinet now, but also a lot of it isn't, and I don't know what warrants some of it being on a shelf and some of it not. They are kind of drowning in it, but I assume people are buying it. And they have, like, non-Warhammer Joy Toy as well. So, like, they got a couple of the, like, Joy Toy original IPs. They have a few of the Infinity ones. Oh yeah, TLK, anything that's on their website is physically in the store, too. The place is like a warehouse. Chris Muse, what happened to Toys, Toys, Toys? They moved to Dufferin Mall and changed their name, but most of the price tags still say Toys, Toys, Toys. And the staff are still wearing the same uniforms, and if you walk in there, they look at you like you're invading their space. It's very funny. But yeah, the Eaton Center one basically moved to Dufferin Mall and changed its name. I don't remember their new name because they're Toys, Toys, Toys. And maybe if the store looked remotely different, I'd remember their new name. But it's like they teleported the store into Dufferin Mall. Like, right down to the layout. Does Joy Toy sound like a sex toy brand to anyone else? I mean, like, yeah, out of context. I'd be like, why is there Joy? Apologies, by the way, for the poor figures just, like, standing here, but I'm enjoying our conversation. Sorry, I'm enjoying our conversation. No, that's the right vibe. Sorry, I'm enjoying our conversation. I'm trying to find the right passive-aggressive, like, friggin', hinge date vibe for this tone. Well, I'm sorry that I'm enjoying our conversation. Sorry. I can't... listen. I'm sorry that I say it right. Actually... pretty lazy that you're not playing with the toys on your toy stream. Pretty lazy. It's gonna be worse if we've never met at a convention and you're going to Toronto and it's like, you go to one of the panels and I just throw out there like, pretty lazy. You're gonna be like, oh god. It actually physically hurts to hear that. Can the keys swap? Let's see. So, Vector Prime's key is the only one with the 2 tabs. And I don't think he has a slot. So this one is sort of... because he's using those 2 slots. This doesn't have the 2 tabs. But this, I assume, can go in Hotshot's hole? It can. Hotshot can now travel through time. Vector Prime's key has a slot in his back. Is that a key slot? Hotshot, for crying out loud. Oh, will you look at that? Alright, there's a place to put it. Alright, the key's the same size as Starscream's. Yeah. Let's see. They are the same size as Starscream's. Now Vector Prime is speed. Now Vector Prime is... more swords! Yeah, his sword, I think, has the tabs for it. Oh, no! It's not tabs. Vector Prime's key is very special. It also has a 5mm port. That's also what this peg is for on his sword. So his Vector Prime's key is strictly better than everyone else's. It's got a 5mm connection, and it's glittery. Yeah, Override got given a slot that works with the big real cyber keys, so... I mean, she sort of lost something, but she also gained something. It's a planet key. Actually, it's a force chip, or a force chip, if you watch the original anime. Vector has a unique key. It's got, like, little planets and clockwork and stuff on it. And yeah, like, Override is basically like a Cybertron toy. Right down to the, like, thickness of the plastic. Ah, yes, Garaxi Force. It was one of my favorite mangas that I enjoyed watching with fan subs, so that the translation was true to the Nihongo. Oh, have a good night, Aaron. Best of luck with your stupid o'clock meeting tomorrow. You'd think, like I have like a little a knack for sounding like an insufferable gatekeeping nerd. Yet I'm not one. It's just a thing I can do, and it's such a useless skill. How do I put this on my resume? Nihongo o Hanashi Masen, Ego o Hanashi Masuka. Sorry, Hanashi Masuka. See, I was doing that when I took legit Japanese classes in Canadian high school, starting at grade 10. I'm actually allowed to do that. TJ Omega, just once again, not demonstrating that TJ and Aaron are not different people whatsoever. It's friggin' Aaron didn't leave. Aaron just turned around. Aaron just counter-punched. TJ just shows up. Oh, the only thing you remember from your Japanese class, I do not speak Japanese. Do you speak Japanese? But see, as a tourist, you also have to learn how to go like, oh, watashi no nihongo, mazui desu, ego hanashimasu ka? And if you ask it like that, quite literally, whoever you're talking to will feel such pity for you. They'll be like, oh yes, don't worry about it. Like, literally! At least in 2007. My understanding is because of streamers, Japan is a lot more, a lot more, how do you put this? Expecting the worst from someone who walks up to it. Well, no, I think if you do that, actually, you will come off better than the streamer, because the streamer is going to walk up and go like, hey man, do you sell any fish here? Or something like that. That whole thing is wild, because I don't blame, having seen what some, like, there are great streamers out there. Having seen what some of the other ones do, though, I'd tell them to leave. In general, I didn't look at the captions while I was doing that, Dynamo Dave. I didn't think to take a look. I like that it capitalizes both D's in your name when I say your name. Yeah, asshats be asshats. That's not so, Alex. That's very kind of you. Thank you. But, like, generally, like, if you travel somewhere, like, you just gotta learn, like, a handful of phrases, and even if you have them written down, no one cares if you have to pull out a flashcard to read your phrase, because you're trying. That's all, like, when you're traveling as an English speaker, all that really matters is you're trying, right? Like, that's already more than what some people do. You might meet, like, some grumpy xenophobes, but generally speaking, if you're just trying your best, people will already appreciate that you're trying your best. Got Archer Monster with the Konichiwa. Oh, the H on that W's throwing me. Oh, God. Konichiwa. the southern Konichiwa. Zero says, thanks, Vangelis. I'm going to Japan in April, and now I'll have this urge to go someplace and do the hey man, got any fish? I won't do that, but the devil on my shoulder will be envisioning it. I'm happy to help. Archer Monster. Wait, Aaron Archer. What? Aaron Archer? I only know active artist and podcaster Archer Monster. Never trust an unfiltered machine translation. In general, yeah, be careful. The French don't appreciate attempt at speaking French. Well, the thing about the French... what a weird way to start a sentence. I have to finish the sentence now, but... the thing about the French is they have to deal with the Québécois. So I think French is a special scenario because there's already beef with people speaking French to the French, which is when a person from France and a person from Quebec try to speak French to each other, and then they start fist fighting. The French. Thank you, Rider Blues. Sideswipe Prime is not wrong, because Québécois is basically, it's much like how Dutch is not German. Québécois is not French. It is French, but it is not France French. It is not Francais from France. It is Francais from Quebec. Don't forget Belgian French. True, I forgot about it, so I failed that test already. Well, in general, the thing is, it's not so much French is rigid and formalized. A lot of languages are actually fairly formalized. It is that English is a dog water mess. Our language doesn't make any sense compared to a lot of other languages. I've gone on this rant before, I think, but like, English is a mess language. It is what do you call it? What's that plate they have in New York State called like the garbage plate? English is like the garbage plate language. And hey, it is also, TF Closet, it's my dog water mess too. I'm thankful that I grew up speaking English, because I can't imagine trying to learn English with every passing decade as we stack more and more nonsense into the English language that everyone just takes as, yeah, I get you. Yeah, you know. Oh, apparently I said English is a globulous mess of a language in 2012, so I've been doing this for a while. But yeah, English is... part of the beauty of English is that it is somehow so malleable. For instance, you can just start saying riz and gyat, and you can use skibbity as an adverb or a verb or a noun. And like 3 times out of 5... either someone understands you, or they read your tone enough to kind of get what you meant, right? Like, what a friggin', this friggin', like, we got a bunch of, this sword here, or, this, you know, this friggin' glitter stick of a sword. So I just said it's a glitter stick of a sword, right? Now, you all know what I meant, but if someone doesn't speak English as his first language, and maybe he doesn't have a lot of experience with it, if I just said, what a glitter stick of a sword, imagine you don't understand English now, right? And you're learning it from the ground up. If someone just says, oh, what a friggin' glitter stick, this guy got, this friggin', dude friggin', like, put, like, the friggin', like, glitter stick, put, like, the knuckle-jointed hand he got, and it ain't got a pretty good hand feel, but, like, you know, maybe the plastic feeling kind of, you know, it's sort of, it's smooth, but it kind of feels kind of yogurt. And then people are just gonna be like, what are you talking about? What are those 2 words you kept peppering in between every word, and how does something feel kind of yogurt? Whereas, if I look you in the eye, or I'll try to be a little bit more fair here. And I'm like, hey, this feels a little bit chalk. You'd know what I meant. This doesn't feel chalky, by the way. But if I said, this feels kind of chalk. Or, these joints are milkshake smooth. Actually is. This joint is milkshake smooth. What does that mean? Buttery mechanical hand feel. I've said that phrase. And again, at least 3 out of 5 people at face value accepted that phrase and kind of understood what it meant. You don't really get that in a lot of other languages. Now everyone's just starting to say skibbity at me because you're all frigging abusive. Is it creepy or is it wet? Yeah. You thought Riesling was spelt like Rizzling. I am the Rizzler. I wield Rizzling to cut through the gat. See, once again, that shouldn't make any sense, but like, and maybe it didn't, but like, I'm sure somewhere in there was a nugget of truth. Maybe I'm helping the dumpster fire, though, 'cause maybe I'm inventing a bigger dumpster with more ladders. More accessibility on this dumpster. More people can crawl in. Yes, basically, slang makes, like, other languages have slang, but English slang, like, there are versions of English that English speakers can't, like there's a video game one of my YouTube Oshis, John Wolf, is playing through right now, which is full of Scottish people, and it has multiple language options for the subtitles, right? If you select English subtitles, it is not a transcription of what the characters are saying. It sometimes translates their Scottish to English. And you have to select Scottish English for the subtitles to be a transcription of what the characters are saying. So when the main character, for instance, says, I'm real good with the lecky, the English subtitles say, something like, I'm really good with electrical systems. And I'm like, is that insulting? Or is that, like, next level accessibility options? Anyway, that's just on my mind because I've just been watching that. But, wait, what did I miss? Hot dog. Oh, glizzy. I didn't know glizzy was a hot dog. I jammed a glizzy between these 2 loaves and stuffed it in my mouth. I'm talking about hot dogs. In a bun. Jammy, you just finished Ultraman Blazar. I still need to actually properly watch it. I watched like 3 episodes and then I got busy and started missing them. And I've been taking for granted that Ultraman is just on YouTube all the time, even if I miss it. So I need to actually finish Blazar. I haven't really been watching, like, anything regularly except for Delicious in Dungeon. And now that's over. Glizzy is slang for hot dog, but can also be, yeah, that. What? I love to crack a glizzy wide open so I can put some extra sauce in the middle. You can dip Vector Prime in hydrofluoric acid. I think it'd make for great content. I do not own any hydrofluoric acid, unfortunately. I missed the drop. I got some FOMO about it. No one wants your stream demonetized. Have you never cut a hot dog open to put more sauces in the hot dog? Is that just me? None of it's ketchup before friggin' whatever, Chicago or whatever, comes knocking at my window with baseball bats. Wow, fake fan, no hydrofluoric acid. Listen! We can't gatekeep like this. Ever heard of it? Okay. Okay, number one, ketchup on hot dogs is fine. I don't really care. I've kind of been, I just sort of gotten off ketchup for the most. I had it with some Cajun fries the other day, and I was kind of like, this is fine, but I think I liked it better without it. You get a hot dog. Okay, you take your glizzy or whatever. This is my glizzy now. And then you put an incision right up the middle. You go right up, put a big old slit right in there. You give it a little crack, and then you can get your avocado, your guac, your chopped onions, your etc. Get it all in there, and then it also gets in the meat, and then also it's easier to bite into the hot dog because it's not encased in the tube. It's not so hard to bite. It's not so stiff. This loosens the meat. We taught him a new word and he's using it too much. Well, you know, whose fault is that, okay? You walk into a friggin' zoo and you throw a machine gun to a gorilla. What do you expect to happen, okay? I need to experiment with this new thing I've never seen before. It's a hot dog, no one doing all. Oh, I mean, okay, I'm not saying do this with like your $2 hot dog, but if you get a nice thick, juicy, a nice big, thick, hard, juicy hot dog, and you want to enjoy it, you want to get a good flavor profile, and you want to have a multifaceted in-mouth experience as you're plunging your teeth in and you're chewing through every bite, then you know. You put the flavor slit in, so you got easier bite feel. Guac on the glizzy is absolutely an Ice Spice song. I don't know who Ice Spice is. I'm not going to hyperfixate for the next several months. Maybe a couple weeks. We might be in enough proximity to TFCon, I might just bring up glizzies at panels all the time. That happened with Riz was it last TFCon or the one before? Friggin' Toy Guy's friends told me where Riz came from, and I got friggin' angry. But yeah, we are close enough to TFCon that this might be a problem at TFCon, so... Yeah. We'll see what we can do. Like, to put all the threads back together. Be kind, right? If you see someone talking to a minor and their parents and or guardians, don't just walk past going like, "Yo, Vangelist, you got a fat glizzy," you know, like, you know, don't be a friggin' porky pig in the poop pipe, right? Like, have some class. D. Rice Raid says, I can safely say the English we Trinidadians speak is actually broken. I don't disbelieve you, but a lot of English is kind of actually broken. The more colloquial and slang you start filling it. Stardust Magician, I started this glizzy talk, and I'm sorry. And is that not the lesson that we were trying to teach? To put everything back together, I want to put a glizzy on Vector Prime, says Not So Alex. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, minor in their family. Minors go through enough. Alright, then I gotta start hearing all this weird slang. The thing about me and new slang, and this it's been this way ever since I didn't know what douche meant when I was a teenager, is, I'm a very yes-and brain. So, like, if you just start introducing slang to me like it's normal, and I can't tell from the cues of the people around you that something is up, I'll usually just accept, like, okay, yeah, that's a word. Not so Alex, I'm talking about what actually douche actually medically means. I didn't... When I was a teenager, I did not know. I had heard douchebag too often. If I remember right... Okay, I'm gonna... So, the actual fully detailed story is we were on a fencing trip, and it was a long drive on a long Vancouver highway, and I was with a couple of my fencing peers. And I forgot how it came up, but at some point I said, yeah, I mean, I know douchebag, but I don't really know what, like, douche means. And they were like, you don't? And I was like, no. And they're like, well, so they were trying to turn it into, like, oh, look at Chris doesn't know what douche means. So I was like, well, I don't know what douche means. I started yelling it a whole lot. And they're like, no, you can't just start yelling that. I'm like, what? Don't start yelling, douche! You know, and so I kind of made them explain it. Or how scum used to mean cum. Really? I always thought scum came from, like, sewage stuff. Or, like, we call scum, like, isn't also scum, like, the stuff that floats to the top of a soup? Like, when you're doing, like, a bone broth? You're doing one... You're doing one of them bone broths, sometimes with some chopped glizzy in there? What are we even doing? We are fixing the English language. Yeah, if you work together, you can get me to say made-up words. The thing is, there's always a weak link in the chain. So you gotta have some camaraderie to pull that off. I need to look up the etymology on scum. I feel like I'm being set up. That's not to say I'm taking this in bad faith. I'm just like, I feel like I'm getting set up. I know what ligma means. Everyone knows what ligma means. Scumbag used to mean condom. Damn. That actually makes sense. What is I'm not reading that out loud. But that makes, because, yeah, scumbag is one of those things you just say without really thinking about where it came from. And it would be, like, imagine if you look someone dead in the eyes and you just went like, you're a goddamn condom. Like, I would feel terrible if someone did that to me. Don't do that to me at TFCon. Clip it. That's why I'm in the tiny window. Less usable. Shout out to Jey Uso and the Blood Unforgiving Yeet, two different... I don't keep up with that side as much, but as far as I can tell, he is using the word yeet like one might use the word or or like. Like, he's using it in place of a period. Pee-pee poo-poo with the real, like, advisory in here. Quote, don't call Vangelis a condom, and don't do it especially when there's a minor with their family around. Thank you. The thing is, Chris Muse, scum is Old English for foam, but that's Old English. Sometimes these words come from a forked origin. Does the condom imply the existence of a con sub? I guess I would say, what would you define as a con sub? Submarine sandwich. Is the opposite of a condom a prodom? You can't You can't go to pro... No, you can, because condom to pro sub... You know, a lot of people wasted their time on the internet with, is a taco a sandwich? When they could have been doing this. This is way more fruitful. It's Vector Prime. I mean, it's, yeah, a good toy. The cons... M-Cypher with the con sub is one of my ex's AO. Sorry, heyo. Important difference. So we can do that. We can do... This was not an invitation to start the taco hot dog sandwich. This is... I do appreciate how the entire internet went like, no! To that thing after about a year. What will the next Titan be? Not Titan. Actually, I don't really have a theory on a next Titan. I have been kind of buying into the idea that, like, Commander class or Titan class, depending, might just, like, 2-pack Jetfire and Overload from Armada and give them their own sort of combined robot mode as a you know, solitary box function. D. Ricer, there's some examples. We say things like, what you doing day, chippity? I mean, that sounds normal to me. What the jail is this? I mean, it's a what the, right? I go put it in ya rutong putong kung. Okay, I don't know what that possibly is. Well, no, you know what? I can kind of deduce some of this. It's because I speak English, and because English is messed up. Oh yeah, Lyokaiser in Titan class feels doable. I mean, yeah, a combiner in Titan class, we haven't had one for a second. That feels like something that might cycle back around. Overload and Jetfire does feel more Commander class to me. Got Titan class, Rescue Bots Universe, High Tide. I mean, sickness, I would be down. I also will say, like, if I'm accidentally or inadvertently saying stuff from leak lists, I don't keep up with them super tightly, so, you know, my apologies. Silverbolt is next year's commander from leak. Yeah, well, no, but now we're in a cycle with, like, it feels like we're getting in a cycle where it's like there's not an annual commander anymore. I mean, I guess there kind of is. Was Armada Optimus from United or from... Oh, I can look this stuff up. I just don't want to. For some reason, that I'm like, it's not actually important, so I refuse to look it up. Okay, yeah, Armada Optimus was Evolution. So yeah, the double commander is a thing. Or someone else here says there are 2 annual commanders. Yeah, there's room for another one. It was legit. Do you ever have that where it's like the kind of thing where maybe it's a thing from being in an online, in an internet community long enough where I'm like, or, you know, in a fandom long enough where it's like, damn, I can't remember this piece of minutia. But then you're like, you pause and you go like, I refuse to care enough to look this up. And then your hands shake as you reach for your phone after a minute and you just start, you're like, but I need to look it up anyway. Oh, wild. Right after I took the thing off camera, I got a text message. Excellent timing, whoever did not want to get doxxed. Also, I saw maybe a redo Metroplex. I agree. Metroplex and Fortress Maximus, amazing pieces for their time. And then Titan Class went like, what if Titans always have an ankle tilt? And then it was like, the Metroplex and Fort Max are now strictly worse for me than all the rest of them. Oh, Fort Max did just get reissued. Yeah. Here's the thing I'll posit. Do you think we'll ever be in a position where, like, say for Fort Max, for instance, Hasbro might just say, like, we are making an add-on kit ourselves for our recently reissued Fort Max. And I'm not just saying, like, they're going to make the slippers that DNA made that I missed and now I wish I had, but, like, a posit to all of you. Because technically, the official add-on kit has existed a few times, like Tricranius. It was an add-on kit of multicolored effect parts, and that was definitely a hit for a very specific number of people. Oh well, the thing about the so again, I'm not saying it literally will be the DNA slippers, but DNA Design made slippers basically for Metroplex and Fort Max that gave them ankle tilts, and they were just add-on hunks. So a little bit of parts forming, if I remember correctly. I never had them, but they were add-on feet that just pegged in. And then for the alt modes, they added two, like for Metroplex, they added an aircraft carrier motif to the front. But they were basically just a pair of gigantic slippers. Oh, Logos Minor. Big Bad does have the slippers available for pre-order. I think that someone should sell the slippers at TFCon Toronto and also cheaper. That was the other reason I didn't buy the slippers, is they were just expensive enough for me to go like, I'm spending a lot on a pair of shoes for a toy. It's just like, to me, from my own tastes, adding tiltable ankles to Metroplex and Fort Max makes them, it fixes my one critical problem with both figures. Everything else I'm actually, like, really fine with. It's just the part where if you pose them and then their legs are not stock still with straight knees, and if you start messing with the legs, they just fall over. And I know there's ways to make them not, but for the most part, they are so large that they have so much potential kinetic energy that they have a much harder time, I find, like, balancing on foot ledges. Yeah, TLK, I just walk in the dealer room like, I'm looking for inexpensive slippers for my Titan class Autobot city robots. Please. There's a long pause, and then just every dealer packs up and leaves. Convention ends on the spot. Like, nope, we're out. Not dealing with this. We're leaving. What obscure characters do you want to see in a mainline? Action Master Elites! I know it's a rote answer, but also it's a good answer. The thing about the Titans just needing basically shoes, right, is I figured, and this, again, I'm a total layperson who does not own a printer and only took like a very brief lesson in 3D modeling. I was like, this seems like the kind of thing that eventually someone will just make. Because it's just a big-ass pair of plastic shoes with a joint. But then it's a big-ass pair of plastic shoes. You can't just print a big-ass thing like it's nothing. So I guess I answered my own question. Flame War says, Nautica needs a figure that isn't so hard to get. Yeah, Nautica needs a new figure. It's kind of... Nothing against Chromia, okay? It's kind of messed up Chromia has, like, 3 times as many toys as Nautica.
when Nautica has probably had a larger impact than Chromia, if you go like per capita of years of existence. Yeah, we never got a Giltor. That Super Megatron felt like a setup for a Giltor. I wonder if there was one, like, on a design board and it just, got put under a pile of paper. And then if we get a Giltor, then more people know who Giltor is. Yeah, I'm Ronnie Lane. I'm shocked we don't have any kind of partial into pharma yet. There's been like more than one toy that I think where a lot of people were like, "Oh, that's going to be pharma," and it just wasn't. It was like, okay, still waiting. Rexidus asks, "Is the fan base still weird about female Transformers simply existing?" For the most part, no. That is the topic that kind of trends. Unfortunately, it trends like, well, where are you asking? Are you asking on like Twitter? Are you asking on a Facebook group? And like that kind of defines like what volume of enraged confusion you'll receive. Elson Quizmorio, salutations from Manila. Hello. But no, like most people just like it's kind of, I'm not gonna say it's flipped, but I find the vibe is most people are like, why wouldn't there be female Transformers? It's not so much like, oh, they have woman robot now. It's kind of like, yeah, they got woman robot. Why wouldn't they have woman robot? That doesn't make any sense. What do you mean there's like a reality where there are no woman robot? That doesn't make any sense. Are you okay? Like that's kind of, to me, that's like more of the vibe now. It's not like, aggressive or like rude. It's literally like, why wouldn't there be? Yeah. I think Ronnie Lane is. I agree with that too. Like, yeah, the divide now is like, what does woman robot look like? Basically, take it easy, Zero. And I think that the conversation about what should woman robot look like, I think there's a lot of nuance to it that is getting expressed, and I enjoy looking at the nicer side of it. Because, like, basically, there's room for everything. To me, or at least, I guess in my viewpoint, there's room for everything. The only thing that bums me out is when we kind of just get the one thing over and over again. Like, ideally, we get everything. Like that's the one thing that female Transformers run into as far as merch now is like the ones that get rendered into physical merch. It's like there are and this isn't like saying like they shouldn't do partials. I think the partials turn out really good most of the time, but like they get shunted into a lot of like very specific body types when like I would rather see all the body types. Basically, there's room for the cheesecake-oriented female Transformers robot. It's just like that tends to be like the default in a lot of merch and artwork and etc. And that's what I think makes it more of a bummer. Whereas we could have like Strikas, Strong Arms, Termagaxes, name a roster of tons of different female Transformers that all look completely different from each other, right? Well, I think Jedi Jack's mentioning that you've got like Shadow Striker also being Sideburn. I think that works though. Like because I think that's part of what makes Transformers work, right? Is like when you get to certain cross lines in the gradient, right? And this was done in 2003 already. Sideburn works male or female, because Sideburn is just a very, like, lithe, athletic body wearing a lot of car armor, right? Not so, Alex. I do not have a mint and sealed box Overlord. I have an Overlord video of my friend Gerodimus's, not sealed, but I think it was in a box Overlord that we shot at a convention hotel once. But that wasn't mine. Take it easy, Chris Carnage. Yeah, Slipstream, like, Slipstream's bummer is, like, Slipstream originally kind of coded as, like, oh, this could be a Starscream repaint retool. And then Windblade is invented, and it's like, we got a female jet robot now. We'll use that. And then, like, that just sort of stayed the thing. 'Cause I think it works. It's just a shame that that's every Slipstream, right? Like, not everyone. Like, the Ultra Cyberverse Slipstream, if it were more of an action figure, I think would also be pretty cool. But as far as, like, collector-oriented Slipstreams, you kind of end up with constantly Windblade. And it's like, yeah, that's fine. It's just like, I would love a Slipstream who was Slipstream first, though. And, you know, it's a similar thing. There's other characters that run into that, too, where it's like, a character kind of tends to live as, oh, you're the one that we will partial out of this one. And it's kind of like, that's fine. But, like, someday I'd like for that one to be the one who gets to exist first. Yeah, like, I think actually the VTOLs are the thing that make the Slipstreams stick out more. Because, yeah, if the wings were redone to be VTOL-less, I think the whole idea would just, like, play better visually. But then, that, you know, that's more parts to retool, etc., etc. Oh yeah, I forgot the Prime Starscream Slipstream. That one turned out pretty well too. I like them all. I like, of the collector-oriented ones, I like all three of them. I mean, I haven't handled the new one, but, like, I like that Windblade, so I suspect I'll like that toy. Because I'm also, when it comes to character collecting, like, you know, slight tangent, but I'm a very much, like, I don't need one version of a character. Like, I treat every toy as an individual toy, so I'm fine with having, like, my weird little array of iron hides, for instance. I think Rexit is asking why they haven't done another fan-built bot poll. I think that the budgetary space for that concept to play out might not exist anymore. Because the fan-built bot stuff was in the early 2010s. Yeah, it was like the early 2010s, basically, right? And then, like, in Combiner Wars, it was, I guess, mid-2010s. I feel like the money pipe of Transformers, the monetary carotid artery of Transformers has constricted since then. So I suspect there's just not really... Also, Transformers existing as a visual medium thing, like having TV series and stuff for a new character to kind of exist in, has sadly kind of shrunken a little bit. Rexit says, your subtitles made my name Brexit. What? Now it made your name Lexus, at least. Well, I don't know how you feel about Lexus, but... I didn't say Italy! What? That's why I don't look at those captions, because, like, eventually I get really distracted by, like, the decisions they make. But yeah, I think the fan-built bot thing, it's probably... I mean, I'd love to be wrong, I just think it's probably not going to come back anytime soon because we don't have the space for that stuff to exist. I kind of wonder if... Because you all saw when Mark Marr on Instagram was basically asking a bunch of questions, right? That one time about, like, hey, do you guys like new characters? Do you just want old characters? Do you get excited when we have, like, a redeco that kind of creates a new character? And I feel like that was sort of testing the waters, not so much on a fan-built bot, but on, like, how much are you into us just, like, creating more, you know, what's the phrase people use? More empty blore bows for people to headcanon around. Oh, Rexodus, I'm also counting the comic books. And I feel like Windblade, like, appeared comic book-wise pretty quickly. And then once TV show production caught up to, like, the pace where she couldn't be inserted, she started popping up. Because that stuff didn't time... Like Windblade, there was like, no way they were going to, like, jam her into Prime, I don't think. But she showed up in RID 2015. Well, the comics are now... How do you put this? Or how do I put this? The comics still exist, but the current comic books feel like they are being left to be a very independent project that does not necessarily tie in... Like IDW 1 had a period of about 3 years where they were trying to use it to sell new toys to collectors, sort of. And it made for some kind of awkward stories at times. I feel like the current Skybound project is kind of just being left to do its own thing to a certain degree. Obviously, they have to work with Hasbro on stuff, and Hasbro has expressed, I believe, that they would like to do toys relating to Skybound eventually. But Skybound's comics do not seem like they have the imperative of selling toys necessarily. Otherwise, we would have had a, you know, Optimus Prime with a funny arm already, I think. So I'm not saying it's like a completely cut off thing, but I think that the motivation that Skybound has been presented with as a licensor or a licensee is that they're not trying to coincide with toy releases. Oh yeah, Cypher, I mean, like, coincidentally, Skybound resembles Generations a lot, but that's also just because they're using an 84 cast. Skybound actually is pimping a lot of Magic Square toys and New Age toys. I think it was Dr. Lockdown recently identified Onslaught is in some new issue of Skybound, and I don't remember if it's the Magic Square one. I think it's the Magic Square one. He is literally Magic Square Onslaught. You can tell because of where his wheels end up in his forearms, and DWJ has been very transparent about the fact that he uses like a New Age or a Magic Square Optimus as his model for drawing Optimus. So what I mean is that, like, Skybound is not there to coincide with toy lines. Coincidentally, you know, the toy lines are actually, well, the toy lines aren't even really doing G1 as much now. That's sort of gone over to the side, or I should say 84 G1. Because now Legacy United sort of famously is doing a couple decades down the road nostalgia. But yeah, the comics, and my understanding of the rest of the Energon universe is it's not like a vector through which to present a fan-built bot, for instance. It's more like the comics will invent something that the toy line will potentially present, you know, in plastic representation probably 2 or 3 years after the fact. But yeah, Skybound's designs are... What I'll say is that, like, you know, it depends how you take design motif, because, like, it's all, you know, G1. But I feel that there are, you know, like, certain decisions being made on a very fine granular level that kind of give them their own thing. Oh yeah, I should say I wasn't trying to make you feel better about the lack of the polls. I was just saying why I don't think they're... I just don't think that there's really a vector for them to exist. But I would like to be wrong. Because, like, the second fan-built bot poll was literally, what mold families do you want Victorion to be, right? It's like, do you want helicopters, do you want airplanes, do you want cars, do you want jeeps? Or whatever the fourth one was. So Victorion was actually, like, I was really hoping to see more like Victorions, because it's like, it was a multiple choice, build a toy with what you know that we have, and I was like, this is groundable. I like this. Because with Windblade, like, Windblade has the, I guess, like, slight baggage of, like, her poll happened, but, like, a toy of her took a hot minute. Because they kind of had to, like, realign all that stuff with actually make a figure. That was also Thrilling 30 era. Like, that was the comic book backing deluxes. That was also, like, a budget high. Like, it's weird to say, because, like, I think the toys are still, to a degree, you know, for better or for worse, I guess, but I think the toys are still, to a degree, like, fairly high budget, but we are not in the budget high of Thrilling 30 anymore. Which, to me, is less about, you know, are the toys better or worse, you know, binary question. It's more that, like, when there was lots more money floating around, a lot more weird stuff would happen. A lot more, like, kind of experimental things could come out. If there's one thing that, you know, corporate America is, it is risk-averse. And so, what's the first thing that's going to go, right? Like, what's a bigger risk than a fan-built bot, for instance? Frightening 40? I think on a podcast, we just straight up, like, F-bombed with 40 for, like, what we thought they were going to call it then. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Victorion was absolutely a product design poll series. There was still, if I remember right, there was still, like, some backstory stuff involved in that, but it's been such a while. But then, right, one reason why I was really optimistic about Victorion is because we were also coming off of an era having watched Windblade's, you know, integration into various different casts and settings. I was like, damn, it's going to be sick when they do this for a combiner team. And then, like, Victorion ran into, and Windblade did as well, but Victorion more so ran into the wall of, like, all right, your debut will be in the Machinima series. And then, you know, that ruined everything. I think the Machinima series and the Netflix series also, like, inadvertently did a lot of damage as far as us getting, like, lore to go with this, for instance. Because I think there was an assumption when Legacy stuff was getting designed from the ground up that, well, yeah, well, you know, we'll play out some concepts in a Legacy Netflix animated series. And then, you know, it didn't happen. And I think that that is part of the reason why Legacy has felt like a very strange, like, lore bucket of there are unifying ideas. There is just nothing to explain them or even state some of them. Like, that's a question I'd love to, if I were ever to, for instance, like, sit down with an Aaron Archer to have a recorded conversation at a convention or something. One question I'd love to ask is, like, having worked on a lot of, like, you know, lines that had strong media presence behind them as far as TV or film or comics, etc. When you come to, when you look at a project like Legacy, right, which has an implied legacy, capital L, legacy lore, that there are sort of 3 seasons of story happening across these toy lines, but there is no show, no comic, no text blurbs, nothing. Like, with an Aaron Archer position, right? Like, how would an Aaron Archer approach that with that older, maybe more resource-rich mindset, right? Okay, Timu has the Victorion poll. It was gender, name, molds used, color schemes, special power, origin, rival, and attitude. Yeah, everything from color scheme onwards. I was really optimistic about it because I was like, given what we got with Windblade, I was foreseeing so much interesting stuff. And I feel like the rival thing, especially, I was like, this is how we can backdoor some good lore for whatever the hell Galvatronus is. This is gonna be sick. And then, you know, ran into the Machinima wall. Which seemed to just take the wind out of all of it. Like, aside from the comics, like, I really like that a couple of the Victorion characters kind of got to really be their own thing in IDW 2, especially. Yeah, TLK, that's what I'm talking about. Is I think Legacy, when it was starting, had an internal assumption of that, you know, scrapped Netflix series that, like, well, that will express some of our ideas at least. And even if it wasn't any good, as long as you see some of the ideas in motion, it's a lot easier, I think, to grok, like, what you're seeing. Like, in Legacy Series 1, right? Transformers Legacy, there is an Energon weapon and an Energon mining theme. And you'd maybe identify the weapon part. The mining theme is why... It is the lore reason why Cybertron Metroplex is the feature titan, is because he's what all the mining operations are centered around, right? I only know that because of one of the Zoom calls or Instagram posts or whatever. That's the only reason I know that. There's nothing anywhere at all to imply that. Even the box art only vaguely alludes to it. But, for those who didn't know... that is the lore behind Legacy Cybertron Universe Metroplex, is he was supposed to be the focal point of the Autobot side of the arms race and Energon mining that was supposed to be Legacy Year 1. And yeah, Ronnie Lane, like, also, imagine if, you know, that character then saw the Infernac universe characters show up, how that could... Like, the Infernac universe characters... demonstrably are doing a thing of, like, what if basically the Rock Lords, but some of them start integrating Transformers plot rocks into their bodies. So you got Shard, who was originally going to be, like, you know, Dark Energon. You've got the Nucleon one. You've got there's a third one whose name I can't remember. He's also got a funny face. But he also has a Transformers rock name. And, like, that stuff is all, like every little tiny rice grain that we get from usually Mark Marr's Instagram, right, is huge to me. Because at least I can start to see, like, okay, like, maybe that was on a sticky note, like, during the design process of this thing. And then that informs X, Y, and Z, you know, on the figure. And I find that stuff super interesting. Or, like, what is it? The rock pickup truck whose name I forget, Magnius. Like, Magnius, I still like this theory, and I still hold this as, like, a headcanon. Magnius resembles movie Ironhide so much. I like the idea of the Infernac universe just being an offshoot version of the live-action movie universe, but they're rocks. But otherwise, they are murderous, dangerous alien robots. 'Cause they're from a Michael Bay live-action adjacent universe where, demonstrably, all the Autobots are way less friendly and way more dangerous than what we're used to seeing. Oh yeah, Adachi Baby. Like I would be, if it was done in a way that ended up. I mean, it could go badly, but as a concept, I love the idea of like starting a comics universe from the ground up, tying in with a toy line in a world where TV shows and cartoons are depressingly way harder to make, let alone release, let alone sustain, let alone archive, right? Like there's so much that is like trampling all over the animation industry in general, right? Like like comic books tying into a smaller scale toy line feels like so much more doable now and more realistic. It would have been really neat to see something like that. Like I like what Skybound is doing, at least in the opening trade, right? I don't know, something goes horrifically wrong, but like, and I like how much it feels like a personal author's tale, much like a Tom Scioli thing. And Tom Scioli stuff generally bounces off me for the most part in delivery. So I think I said this on another stream. Skybound feels like I'm getting what other people got out of Transformers vs. G.I. Joe to a certain degree. Where it feels like a pulpy, kind of weird, kind of moment-oriented, but personal, eager story, right? Like, one way it's very personal and eager is everyone's doing wrestling moves. Feels very much like that's authorial, there's not really, like, going to be... And we joked about this, I think, on a stream. You're not going to go like, yes, that is now the canon version of Metallicato, is Japanese strong style, but, like... It's just that's the author's eagerness existing in a very author-driven storyline. But yeah, IDW 2, I always thought was really great as like it actually sold me on a couple of figures because I'm like yeah, I mean this Knockout's fine, but then Knockout became IDW 2 Knockout, for instance, and I was like, well, I kind of enjoyed that story, so now I have like more of a hook on this figure. But also, everyone, don't worry. I've handled Off-Road and Alpha Bravo. Thanks to me, we know who they are. Because Hasbro is never going to come back to them, so I now hold the keys to their fictional future. I would never, like, get dead-ass serious about this, but I have a whole canon in my head as to, like, what all the Lost Combiner Wars limb guys are. And now there's never going to be anything for them, so... Because, yeah, you got Alpha Bravo, you've got Off-Road, you've got Rook, and you've got other Blastoff, and you've got Betatron. These are, to me, all fruitful, interesting character routes to play off of. TLK, I actually refer to the character as Takeoff. Just my glasses. My headcanon is actually Takeoff. Like, my idea, right? Like, because I've been pretty clear about this in the video bits I made. I'm always thinking about the things I want to do. But, like, it's like Alpha Bravo, right? Never wanted to be part of the Combiner. Lost his love slingshot. Now is part of the Combiner. Vengeance-driven. Off-road. Wild Rider is no longer stable enough even for Menasor, so they've got a new guy in. Off-road is absolutely not one of the Stunticons. Does not fit in with their personalities whatsoever. Given what Menasor is that better or worse? We could find out. Rook. The Protectobots are a tight group. Groove has downsized. You could use any, like, the Binaltech thing, Maximal Process, whatever you want to say. Groove has downsized. Rook is the new guy. Defensor is now a 6-part protocol, right? What does that mean for Rook? Having to integrate with these veterans. Takeoff. I'm getting into super ass headcanon. I like rolling with the IDW1 idea, but I'd say, like, okay, what if Onslaught and Blastoff have a very tumultuous relationship? Because one of them's the boss, and that doesn't, you can't be in love with the boss and not have fights. So Blastoff leaves one day for a while because he's told you've got to reformat to a smaller, more efficient alt mode. Comes back later, says, yeah, I'm here, I'm a plane now. You find out later, oh, what if that's actually Takeoff, who's been hired, conscripted, whatever, to take Blastoff's place, whilst Blastoff been locked in a box somewhere, for instance. And a Betatron, right? What's Computron? They were created by whatever. You can say hyper-intelligent Grimlock temporarily, whatever. They are like some of the most artificially created Autobots, and then what if they made a second set of them, right? Because it's versioning. What if Computron functions more like a computer program than like actual living beings? And then what does that mean? Why are there why is there Scat-Or Shot and Scat-Er Shot? Who are they to each other? It's all these like fruitful little soils you can plant seeds in. And also, I got all in my head. I got it all designed to tie into the concept I presented once that Toxin and what's his name, Dick guy, Erector, TFCon's mascot briefly. I always call him Dick guy in my head. Now I forgot his real name. Shafter. So I had presented this idea that like Toxin and Shafter were like sort of like a demigod He-Man Skeletor eternal battle with the concept, like what if third-party stuff existed as a fictional concept in parallel to the various different continuities of Transformers. And so I figured like, well, what better way to explain in an era when Combiner Wars may have been slightly informed by third-party Combiner toys as far as just existing. What if the 4 new limb guys, right, who didn't really have any backstory, were insertions of an entity that is trying to third-partyize its way into an existing one of many Transformers continuities. So it all is very simple. It makes sense with or without the hand gestures. Reminds me, I should probably get the music going because I have now. I'm not gonna hit 4 hours. I'm not gonna hit 4 hours, so I better force it. We've been hanging out for like, if you've been here since the start, I don't think any of you were here the whole time, right? If you've been here since the start, or if you watched the whole VOD, you've been watching for, I think, close to 3.5 hours. So like. Congrats, you win. But no, like some point, I have 3 or 4 specific sequences I want to make in that puppetry style. My problem is I don't want to film it all in the one little chain base space. It bothers me too much. But I don't have the room to set up anything else, so I got to figure out how I want to do it. I don't want to like just start green screening things because I think it'll look bad doing my stuff, but also with like hastily green screen backgrounds. So I'm still figuring it out. But that's like one of my little mid goal dream supremes of the next like year or two. Is I want to do it, but I don't know how to do it in a way where I feel good about it. So I'm still working on it. That's why I keep sneaking in action sequences here and there, because I'm kind of like trying to train a little bit, figure out like, okay, what else can I present in this style that looks remotely normal. Ronald is a fanfic writer, Oh, this is such fanfic vibes, because like a big part of it is also like I am in love with my version of Alpha Bravo. So he absolutely, Alpha Bravo is in my little headcanon, Alpha Bravo is way too interesting and strong. He's but I figure like, well, he's real sad that Slingshot's dead. So and he started as a Dirty Harry / Walter White joke. So like whatever. Well, he gets to have too much plot power. But yeah, okay, as a learning writer, learning artist relate so hard. Yeah, it's like I don't want it to be perfect because it can't be perfect, and I can't make anything else if I just try to make one thing perfectly. That's one of the first lessons you learn as a creative, is you kind of have to figure out what your version of just make some stuff is. But yeah, I got how many scenes I have in my head? I got that one, and that one. Got like 4 or 5 scenes in my head. I'm not gonna make it like also like with my existing stuff. I don't want to make like a fully produced thing. I just want to make scenes. I just want to make scenes, and I want to maybe have a little bit of like just like text or something at best between them. Because I think trying to make like a fully fleshed out narrative will only make it never happen. I'd rather just make the scenes in my head and just kind of sort of leave some mush between where you can, you know, kind of clearly, you know, you can figure out what happens. I think with this kind of stuff, and especially since I don't own the Transformers property, right? It's better and stronger to just make scenes that are clear in my head and that clearly express something than trying to make like a fully fleshed narrative. Because it's like, if I'm gonna do like hire me to write a book or something, and I'll make a fully fleshed narrative. But I just want to make my scenes. I just want to make my scenes. Anyway, I've been thinking about them a lot in the last like 3 weeks, so it's also fresh in my head right now. Ironically, you don't own the Transformers property yet. Just write like a friggin' write a big handwritten contract in marker. Find Aaron Archer at a TF con and go like, "Can you sign this, please?" And it's just like former head of Boys Toys is signing over the Transformers to me, as you can tell by the legal document I wrote. This is legit. I almost said crayon, but then I was like, the joke is too rote. It's got to be markers. Smelly markers. Orange lemon only. Cognomen. I tried third-partyizing my TF fanfics. I felt like I had to justify them transforming. That's something that I found when I just think about, like, you know, simple headcanon ideas, is like, what is worth... Well, not what is... my wording is, what is worth justifying and what is smooth to accept as normal? I think, like, that's a big thing about IDW2, for instance, right? Where it's like, do they need to explain this, or this? Or can we take it granted that Transformers exist? There's male and female ones. They have a planet. And you kind of accept that as, like, your opening statement to then just, like, tell a story. And I think that also, in a way, speaks to, you know, like, strong... You know, it's a weirder word to say nowadays, so bear with me. But, like, stronger superhero origin films versus weaker ones. It's like, how much time is blown over explaining the stuff that most people would take as granted due to the decades of existing cultural osmosis and mythology, where, like, even some of the best ones, it's like, you don't really need to know, right, why Spider-Man has webs. It can be interesting as part of a story, but it's not a critical plot point that we explain why Spider-Man has webs, for instance. Or, like, for the longest time with Batman, it's like, someone actually, yeah, Ronnie Lane just said it. You don't need to, as a narrative, explain that Batman's parents died, because, like, most people can infer that. And it usually has nothing to do with the story. Like, one thing that the Michael Keaton original Batman film did that did kind of make that work was, it's like, and Jack Napier was the gunman! And it's like, oh... So, you know, there's sort of like a tie, right? But, like, other than, you know, choosing to do that, like, saying, like, did you know Batman is wealthy and makes his own weapons and has a cave, and his parents died, here's how... It's kind of like, you can kind of assume a lot of it, right? Oh boy, we got anal webs, best webs, because that's where spider webs actually come from. Don't give me no wrists. I only want to see them coming from the butt. Well, Team Movie, yeah, I actually don't know if it did it first necessarily, but like, yeah, the Michael Keaton movie, like, yeah, it was Jack Napier was at least one of, like, he was the main gunman. He said the devil dance moonlight whatever thing, and that's why that line has so much power, because when he says it to Bruce Wayne's like, you're the guy who killed my parents. Also, in 1989, like, I think there was also, like, you know, there were a couple decades less of cultural osmosis. And, like, at that period, I always forget about this until I'm reminded. In, like, 1989, right? 1988, 89, Batman was the funny Adam West thing to most of the general public. Like, it was the funny, stupid show that Adam West was kind of famous for in reruns. That's what Batman is. Holy cheesecakes, holy batarangs, holy butt farts, you know. To a lot of the general public, like, that's what Batman is. And so, like, Michael Keaton being brought on that project was first seen by many as, like, oh, they're gonna do funny Batman, right? Because at the time, Michael Keaton was more so known as a comedic actor. It is weird to think about that, because if you grew up through, you know, like, you know, if you're around about, you know, my millennial age, you're kind of you're probably more used to the idea that Batman has always been kind of overbloatedly grim and dark most of the time. And it's weird to think about a world where, like, campy Batman was not only Batman, it was actively preventing interesting Batman projects from ever happening, because the whole world only knew of funny Batman for the most part. Like, obviously I think that the comics were doing stuff before then, but in the 80s, as I understand it, a lot of the general public didn't give a crap nor know a crap about what was printed in a comic book for the most part. So when you think about what the general public think of an IP, you know, in the 80s, it is a lot more about public perception, which does not necessarily match up with facts nor fan perception, because we did not yet have the kind of MCU-driven bleed over of, like, it turns out everyone gets to be a geek now. Oh no, now geek and nerd are two different terms. Why do we do this? We humans are so funny. Because yeah, Dark Knight Returns happened before those films, but, like, for a lot of the general public, Dark Knight Returns was like some comic book. I don't know. Batman's funny, though. Adam West. Bat-Tootsie. Ha ha ha. Yeah, Jason Todd was beaten to death with a crowbar in the 80s. Because the fans who read the comics called in and said, we hate this character, kill him. Which is wild to think about, right? Like, it's like, I don't know, it's because it is an internetless, for the most part, fandom. Internet kind of existed, but you didn't have tons of people on there. And that's why you get, like, I remember one of the first things, like, as a younger nerd, something that always kind of I found wild, was when I found blue and gray Batman, but doing grim stuff, or in a grim story. Because I was like so trained to be like, grim Batman is all in black, or it's BTAS, dark blue, almost black. You barely ever see the gray. And then, like, seeing, like, Adam West colors, superpowers colors Batman, but in, like, you know, Death in the Family or whatever. It was kind of like, whoa, oh, you know. Anyway, I'm gonna switch to face cam. We're back. I'm going to put this on. I'm going to turn this on. Thank you all for hanging out through a stream that was at least half opening 2 toys, and then we just, like, talked about stuff. I really appreciate how many of y'all are down to just hang out and talk about stuff, because I have fun doing that. I know it's a very one-way conversation. I try to make it as two-way as possible. But yeah, I don't mean to kibosh it, but I don't want to hit 4 hours. I want 4 hours to be special for things like maybe tomorrow if I stream Elden Ring to try to catch up to where the DLC is, and maybe that takes me long enough that it goes over 4 hours. By the way, tomorrow I might stream some Elden Ring to start trying to finish my catch up so I can. I don't want to know about the DLC before I play it. I know everything about Elden Ring already from watching other streamers. I've had to stop watching them all because they're all playing the new stuff. So I want to catch up. Also, I accidentally leveled an alt past my main. I gotta show you what Granite Mendoza's doing now. I killed, you know that red wolf in the magic school? Granite Mendoza and a pair of skeleton ghosts obliterated that thing. One run! On my stream, it took me a bunch of runs with the jellyfish and the wolves or whatever. Anyway, I'll explain more about that when I do some Elden Ring. Probably tomorrow, unless like something comes up. Till then, I'll catch you all later.
Did you see what changed? The answer is he has another lamp.
Let them come.